everyone, and welcome to another Tinfoil Spotlight stream. How's everyone doing? Hope you're having a wonderful Thursday so far. Oh boy, this is gonna be a fun one. Today we're looking at what I'm calling Crackpot Fest 2025. In actuality, it was Breaking Free from the Matrix, a panel at some event called CLE. Some, you know, group of quite interesting people, conspiracy theorists and whatnot, getting together on a panel to discuss the things they believe. So this is quite a smorgasbord of all sorts of strange beliefs, all interacting and hyping each other up. So it should be good. This should be a very interesting one. Hey Nemesaur, how's it going? The Conscious Life Expo. Thank you, Youth Decay. Yeah. So this is gonna be good. This was posted 2 weeks ago, so this was relatively recent. We have a new Pope. He's Cardinal from Chicago, and he's going by the name Leo the 14th. I did see that. I did see that. Young for a Pope, relatively speaking. First American Pope. Not the one Trump wanted. So that's good. Is that bad that that's my first thought was, oh, thank God, it's not that fucking Dolan guy. I didn't assume it would be that guy, but when I heard first, oh, it's the first American Pope, I was like, oh, fuck, was it that Dolan guy? It really threw me off for a second. The right-wing nuts are mad about it, so that's good. Here's the thing to remember about popes, is, you know, even a pretty good pope is still the Pope of the Catholic Church. That's the saying in this house. Even a pretty good pope is still the Pope of the Catholic Church. Apparently covered up child abuse, but that's pretty much any church officials nowadays. And that's why I say even a good pope is a pope. But hey, if it pisses off right-wing people, I guess that's a point. I don't know. Hey Trey, how's it going? I don't think I missed anything in either chat. If you're on YouTube, do me a favor and like the stream. If you want to help support the stream, as always, you can always subscribe on Twitch so you no longer get ads and you get access to the emotes. On YouTube, you can become a member, which grants you access to our member and patron only streams. The next one we're doing, is on the 11th. So that's cool. We're also doing a tip goal towards me producing edited content again. It's been some years since I did that, but I have some cool ideas, and I don't know. I thought it'd be fun for the next tip goal. So, cool beans. Without further ado, let's jump right into it, shall we? There is at least one section of this I'm going to skip over just because it's a little dry. Like, there's one conspiracy theorist that's just, like, not quite as conspiracy theory-y as the others. So I might skip him, but other than that, should be pretty crazy. So get your bingo cards ready. We are gonna go ahead and play bingo.
Doing a wee-wee.
Fighting out in the streets. Yeah. Fighting some liberals, huh? Some ultra-liberals.
You knocked off your Trump hat.
I'm just waiting for Scott.
It's good background noise. You could fall asleep to this. Background noise at an insane conspiracy conference.
I'm fighting some liberals, huh? Some ultra-liberals.
You knocked off your Trump hat.
I'm just waiting for Scott.
Better now. It's all happening. Man, can you believe it? Peace. Hi.
So how is Andy?
He left. Well, no, he's left.
No, this isn't live. This was recorded some weeks ago. This was uploaded 2 weeks ago. It may have been recorded somewhat before that.
Oh, there he is.
Patriot Street Fighter in the house, please. Did you,
Ashley One Up with 50 bits says, sorry it's off topic, but I saw this on TikTok today and wondered how many you'd know. Had to ask while I remembered. Take a look.
These are our top 5 Sunday school tapes.
I recognize
Number
a decent
1.
amount. Care for God's Children. I don't recognize
Annie
that
and
one.
Isaiah, Care for God's Children.
I want to parachute into a faraway jungle somewhere and tell the cannibals about Jesus.
I'm not familiar with this one. Sounds funny, though.
Want to risk my life? End up in a stew pot? Oh, I don't care.
Number 2. Salty songs for little praisers.
I am very familiar with that. Hold on, I have one. As I've mentioned, I have every piece of media ever produced around me in some way, shape, or form. So here's a vinyl record of some of the salty songs for little praisers that's in my background.
So if Jesus is the light, how did you get to be the light?
Salty. Because I asked Jesus into my heart to be my savior.
Number 3. Benny Beloved's Mystery Party.
So what kind of a bear are you?
I don't recognize this one either. This feels like the kind of thing we would have covered too.
Well, I guess I'm just a bear of God. Just like you're all children of God. Nothing really matters after that.
Number
Well,
4.
that was a missed opportunity.
The Gospel according to St. Bernard. Honesty is the best policy.
I can do all things through
I've seen this before.
Christ, which strengthens
Privately.
me. Or you could say,
I don't know why I said privately like that. It made it sound like I masturbated to the dog. No, I just mean I've seen it in my own free time researching VHS stuff. I didn't masturbate to the dog suit.
with God's help, you can handle anything.
And lastly, number 5. Gerber, wrongfully blamed.
I thought people were
I am familiar with Gerber.
supposed to believe you when you're telling the truth.
God really knows what happened. But sometimes he chooses to let us be treated unfairly.
But why?
To teach us how to forgive.
That's certainly a message.
As he ambles on stage 6 minutes late, having kept everyone waiting. Yeah. There's no AC/DC intro here, baby.
This is Sasha Stone. We've covered him a few times on Tinfoil Tuesday before. I initially found him through, I think I've mentioned the channel at least once or twice, Mind of Steel.
All right. Daniel Brinkley, sir. Order in the house. Thank you. Friends.
Is he trying to be Russell Brand? I think that's a good way to put it. He's trying to be off-brand Russell Brand. You could just call him off-brand. There you go. That would have been a more succinct joke.
Friends. Brandy, where are you? Can we begin? Very good. Friends, welcome to this session.
Also pretty good, Youth Decay.
It's called something to do with breaking free from the Matrix, but as Brandy and I discussed a few moments ago, it's rather badly
The Matrix on the bingo card.
named because it would appear that the Matrix was an illusion all along, was it not? I'll wait for that telephone alarm to be
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
turned off.
Uses AI on the bingo card, too, because whatever they have behind them, I think that's on a screen or something, that's almost certainly an AI image by the looks of it.
Is that right? Very good.
I think we should call Delta Force.
And we're duly freed from the Matrix resultantly. So I'd like to welcome, firstly, this cozy group of souls to this room. Very kind of you to turn up this morning. Thank you for being here. Very happy to be joined by my bestie, Scott McKay, Patriot Street Fighter. Come on, people.
Patriot Street Fighter's the boring one I'm gonna skip over. If you're familiar with Patriot Street Fighter, he's like a QAnon guy. Weirdly, he's one of the more sane people here, which is why I'm gonna skip a lot of his bits. Because they're just boring. He's just talking about Trump and stuff. These guys are talking about other fucking dimensions and aliens, and this guy's still on, like, Peter, but, like, first season Peter before the alien stuff came to light. He's boring.
The man flew in from Texas, and we spent the last few days.
The British guy who pretends to be a cowboy in his music and was in that Flat Earth parody. No, I think you're thinking of Conspiracy Music Guru. which is this gentleman. I know how you would perhaps make that what's the word for that? Confabulation? How you would make that connection, because I think he has worn a cowboy hat before in some of his videos. Yeah, like this. I don't want to play too much because he takes my monetization if I play his stuff, understandably to some extent. Yeah.
In Malibu hold up planning.
Inflation, thank you.
Strategy, but happy to have
Thank you, Phoenix.
Scott here, and thank you for getting out of bed early and coming from Malibu.
Only for you, baby.
How was
one kiss, just one.
And Daniel Brinkley, I'm very happy to have him on the panel. And you know what's so cool about this? Those two guys at the end of that table don't technically belong here, you know.
You haven't missed anything, Rick M.
And yeah, the story of Lazarus, resurrection from the dead, Scott McKay speaks to that. His life is that archetype, and so is Daniel's. Dr. Sandra Rose Michael, beloved friend and comrade. And a highly accomplished woman, scientist.
Cat Pack, thanks for following.
Healer, ceremonialist, law commissioner, very accomplished human being, been a dear friend for many years.
Accomplished human being.
Happy to also...
That's quite an accomplishment.
Make the acquaintance of Derek Brose.
Someday I wish to be an accomplished human being. I can dream.
Here. Who is an activist, first and foremost. I regard anyone as a frontline activist.
I'm glad you're here, Cat Pack.
That is the essential piece about this man's character. Placing himself in the trenches.
If you're talking about like a trans person covering like debunking conspiracy stuff, I think there's also Planar Walk on YouTube, if you want another recommendation. Planar Walk also came out, I think, in the last year, so another example.
Just feet in the mud, because that's where it matters the most. But he's also a filmmaker, documentarian, and involved right now in... Sandra, where the hell are you going?
Somebody just left it, right?
Oh,
Sandra.
Very good. Very good. Okay, good. Yes, with the $3,000 car.
How's it spelled? Planar, as in like a flat plane, Planer, I believe. Planar Walk. I will drop a link. Yeah, here's a link to video. Boop. There you go. And on YouTube, I'll drop it too.
Cartier cover. You know that's Dr. Sandra's phone. Very good. Get you right back in your seat, young lady. Back to Derek Brose, if you don't mind. So this comrade of mine is my kind of animal. Full spec, casting light in the world and manifesting, embodying and enacting real-time community, because that's what it's about. The highest currency.
Please get very ready, by the way, for... We haven't gotten it quite yet, but the word salad space on the bingo card is just going to get smashed like it's no one's business. You know that experiment where they, like, gave rats a button to inject pleasure chemicals directly into their brain and they just spent all day smashing the button? That's going to be the word salad space today on the bingo card.
Friends, on the surface of this plane is fellowship. It's the highest currency. I'm also delighted to have my friend of last year, we were together, Bianca, well, when I say together, Bianca Rulik, very accomplished, and she has also crafted a couple of questions for me because I'm a lazy bastard and I didn't prepare any questions at all. I figured, there'd be a no-show because of the Super Bowl yesterday, and who's going to turn up the morning after that? Well, I'm impressed. But point being, I also wanted today to be a riff. I wanted to be just a bit more immersive. And I think, Brandy, do we have a microphone?
Did you know that lack of preparation is immersive? He's the MC. He was supposed to organize everything, but he didn't. So it's immersive.
That would be great. So as and when we get some when I extract some of the juice from these minds and hearts.
For Crackpot Cult MC, this Sasha fella's shockingly lacking in charisma. When he gets into his, like, technobabble word salad, he's pretty proficient at that, and I think that's where he exceeds. Because he's very good at sounding competent. He's very good at sounding like he knows technical spiritual things, when in reality he's just talking out of his rear end, you know?
Hearts on the panel. I'd like to also...
He's a good bullshitter, is basically what I'm trying to say. It's not so much that he's incredibly charismatic as he is pretty even-tempered and able to get out bullshit in a convincing-sounding way to a certain subset of kind of crunchy, woo-woo types. I know he also dabbles in sovereign citizen stuff, but he doesn't talk about that a ton today.
Invite you guys to participate in this. Any key questions you've got for anyone on the panel, this would be a good forum to do that. Okay, it's very informal. Let's have some fun. Great. So delighted that Bianca is here. Also, my other comrade in arms, Ishmael Perez, who needs no introduction.
What if he does need an introduction? Because I'm not familiar. Help me.
And the only man who I would pit against Scott
Do I think the right card could get a blackout? Potentially.
McKay and probably wager behind him, Brad Olson, beloved friend. I have to say that Brad is here representing Dr. Sherry Tenpenny as well as himself. And I think you're standing in for David Sarita as well.
3 in 1.
There we go. A threefer. Very good. Very good. So let me begin by inviting my friends on the panel here to give their lowdown on the status quo, because I think we just do a litmus. I'll start with a preamble. My preamble is really just connected somewhat to the conversations we were having yesterday on the panel, and kind of arriving at the point that, in the first instance, I was told something years ago which really stayed with me. As many of you know, anyone who follows my work knows, I'm a parasite, the worst kind. I live on the glow of brilliant people. I know how to source them. I've been in search of good humans for a long time. And when I meet them, I learn from them. And
I know he's trying to describe himself as a parasite in a positive light by trying to say, in sort of a self-deprecating way, that he leans on other people's expertise. In this case, the expertise is fake because it's conspiracy stuff. But it's a little funny that he did describe himself as a parasite. I would tend to agree with that.
And Lazarus Initiative is really my great endeavor. Producer Christy is here with us today.
You, James.
But we've done now we're in our 5th year, I think, of the Lazarus Symposium. And many, many hundreds of the world's leading scientists and doctors and forensic analysts and people engaged in surfing the quantum realms and the sort of vanguard of consciousness. And we're very blessed.
How does one surf the quantum realm?
To learn from so many of the most extraordinary influences and thinkers in the world today. My summation of that journey of Lazarus, which I began in 2021 on the eve of Scott McKay and my tour across America, which began as the Arise Resurrection tour. And I'm getting there, but you were an afterthought, okay? All right, it was Scott and my tour. I'm getting there, and we forged our way forward. And Sandra duly jumped on board, and we couldn't shake her off, right? When we passed through Las Vegas. But point being, that Arise Resurrection tour was our collective.
No offense to him, actually full offense. His preamble's boring. I'm going to skip to when they actually start talking about the worldview.
Whole thing. And what have we seen since 2021? It's phenomenal. The moment in time, if ever there was a moment in time, at the end of time, it is this year.
If ever there was a moment in time at the end of time, it is this year. That's a Michael Scott line. Ultimate Undying says, off topic, but I know you've been liking the assets for my Mage tabletop game. Here's the pilot for the plane that gets stranded. Bill Haskins. I reckon that's from Left Behind. That's Nick Cage from Left Behind.
This is the epicenter. Shift point, by my reckoning, is probably more or less central Sun Giza Plateau. There's no deep space exit strategy. Not
is your power.
All right.
And what
on to these
frequency, traditional Chinese medicine, TikTok, full direct
test from these brilliant minds and hearts on the status quo. Bianca, where are we? Anno Domini 2025.
We are curing cancer. We are healing.
Thought I would have heard about that one.
People directly. We are teaching people the truth about their composition. We are reaching out and actually making a difference. So if you're not on TikTok, you might.
I didn't know that learning about our composition was so vital to our thriving. That's cool. Just so everyone knows, water and carbon and some trace stuff, but mostly those.
Not know me, but I live stream
some iron in there too.
Frequencies every single day. I've been doing it for 3 years. I teach, and it's all free. It's traditional Chinese medicine, teaching people, reaching out, letting them know what the truth of their body is. And out of the 40,000 diseases, there's one fix, which is light. So reminding.
Oh, why didn't we think of that? Every disease, light. You just hit it. Boom. We never thought, oh, you have colorectal cancer? We'll just stick a flashlight up there. We did it.
Them how to get back to that light, eliminating the garbage, eliminating the chaos, the trauma, all that stuff. And then telling them that knowledge is not power. Will is your power. You have all this knowledge. You have to actually do it and take action. Practice what I preach. Practice what everybody is preaching. So, and that's where it's at. And I really am happy to be in the middle.
Yeah, we're going to go with word salad. I think we got enough to get word salad on the bingo card.
Of chaos and disruption.
To be fair, Trump did think of that. See, that's just because he's operating on a higher level, a level where nothing, truth doesn't matter. Just say stuff, and then you get incredibly successful, and no crimes you ever commit matter. He's doing something right, apparently. H-Baird says the human body's truest form.
Ugly. Giant.
Bags of mostly water.
Bag of mostly water.
Of
when they meet the silica-based life form.
Medical and dental and psychological, all these names and titles of what people think they're going through, but they're really just figuring out their true self. So thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Sandra, I've got to ask you, as the twin femme on the panel, status quo, where are we at?
We're in very, very deep shift as a planet. But the shift has hit the fan of accelerated evolution. And in case you hadn't noticed, this shift is flying every which way. But it's all imploding because it's shifting it off the planet. And those that can't make that shift, they're checking out, and that's okay. Because we're going into the new Earth, the new time. We've waited so long for this time, and we are in it. I mean, it's like, it's wild right now. We're going to see some Toad's Wild Ride between now and through this year, because it's such a huge shift. The turning of the ages, 26,000 year cycle. I mean, it's
by 26,000 years.
But we want a new.
I'm sorry. I know that I'm supposed to be debunking this, but what do you even debunk? It's just like the most nonsensical thing. This is one of the reasons I wanted to show you this. People sat here for hours and listened to this and heard what they thought is wisdom. Phew! And it's nonsense.
New heaven and new earth here now through us. So we have to focus on what we want. The counterintelligences would want you distracted, pulled off track, out of alignment, to keep you. They're not going to convince you that you're not who you are, but just to keep you distracted, not doing what you're here to do. And whatever you focus on expands. So what do you want? Focus on what you really want. And I want a new heaven, new earth. This is a paradise pleasure planet.
Yeah. There you go.
So that was a lot to say that she wants Earth to be Ryza, I guess? She wants us to be on a paradise pleasure planet, which I assume... I don't know what that means for her, but it felt a little TMI, but I'm happy for her. Does she know she could go on, like, Fet Life? She doesn't need some ultimate spiritual change of the earth for her to, like, get her freak on. She can go find other people with similar interests. I don't think you need a global change. I just think you need some confidence. Maybe some tight pants.
Oh, to that. Derek, let me ask you, brother, where are we at from your enlightened aspect?
Thank you guys for having me here and for allowing me to share the stage with these other lovely people who have such broad, interesting perspectives. And I guess from my view, I would echo what was just said, that I do think we need to put our energy and our focus onto what we want in the world. I think that this community here probably has that understanding where maybe other aspects of the broader truth freedom community can sometimes become obsessed with only looking at the problems. But I also think there's the sort of polar opposite of that perspective, which is to put your head in the sand and ignore that problems are real as well, and that there is a physical world, and that there is what I call a predator class that is attempting to take this moment in their own direction. They have a vision.
Doesn't understand their problem is capitalism on the bingo card. Benny Kagami says, speaking of religion, I've been working through Riverboat Jack's content on what if alt hist, including his 10-hour manifesto of his spiritual beliefs, which he claims combines all religions, but is still true to the Bible. The man is such a conspiracy singularity and a great example of what Nazi esotericism looks like in shows when the mainline Republicans are headed ideologically. I mean, the guy was on Tim Pool, would recommend looking into him, but take breaks. He's fascinating but tiring. Here's the thing, too. He's almost certainly a schizophrenic. Like, I'm just saying that, like, he has openly talked about his mother being schizophrenic, and when you listen to his actual speech, it is speech of someone who is schizophrenic. And in fairness, I am not a psychologist. It's not my right to, like, necessarily diagnose anyone. But as much as I have ever known anyone has schizophrenia, what if alt hist has schizophrenia? So, I think using him as an example of, like, general right-wing ideology is not necessarily fair to him or anyone else, because he is, like, clinically ill and has actual complete delusions. Now, that doesn't mean you can't look at him and look at his content and find it interesting, and find those delusions interesting, and maybe, you know, what they say about him and his beliefs. That's fine. But, like, he's not typical. He is probably suffering from clinical schizophrenia.
For 2030 and beyond that I'm sure everybody here is familiar with. We've heard the phrase, you will own nothing and be happy, and all this fun things over the last few years. But in
Klaus Schwab or whatever stepped down from the World Economic Forum. Shouldn't they be thrilled? Shouldn't they all be happy? They're never happy.
reality, I like to remind people that COVID-19 '84, I think it was really the gift.
That's a new one for me. COVID-19 '84. How is that the first time I've heard that? We had years of crackpots and conspiracy theorists about COVID, and I somehow missed that one for like 4 years? That's nuts.
Gift that never stops giving, because without that, I don't think...
That feels like something that would have been on like the Fox News Chiron, like the first fucking week they were asking people to wear masks.
We would have seen such a shift in more people asking questions. For those who've been asking questions since before 2020, many of the things that we've witnessed the last 5 years were pretty obvious. Like, yeah, this is a continuation of everything else we've seen. But obviously it was a big awakening for a lot of people, and that's a beautiful thing. But from that awakening, I've really been trying to emphasize that being awake is not enough, whatever term you want to use, conscious, awake, aware. I like to use the term activated, because then you're kind of putting action into your focus and forward thinking. And whatever your goals are, put your energy into that, right? We know they have a vision, and we can either obsess about that, we can ignore it, put our heads in the sand, and act like it doesn't exist. I don't think either of those help. Instead, we can become aware of other people's agendas, but still put even more effort, time, energy, love, etc., into our own hearts, our own minds, our own visions for the 2030 and beyond, and try to find like-minded people who are aligned with your visions and put your heart and soul into that. I think that's really what we should all be doing right now, and not putting faith or hope in false messiahs or thinking that somebody outside of us is going to do the work for us.
Funny, considering there are some people on the panel that are like QAnon people that think white hats are going to save them. Wonder if they have any contention.
Daniel Brinkley, sir, 2025. What is your take?
I think, Sasha,
This guy's interesting. I listened to about half of this before the stream to kind of check it out. He concerns me a little bit because I'd be very curious to hear like footage or see footage of him talking 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and then compare it to this, and then compare this to 5 or 10 years from now. Because like, he's on the borderline between word salad and circumstantial speech for me. Now, word salad is kind of an intentional thing that you do when you're trying to scam people, or if you think you have a better understanding of something than you do, you can accidentally do it. But he starts to veer into circumstantial speech, which is like a potential symptom of like mental degradation, basically. So I'm curious, I'd be curious if this is like a slice in a timeline of like mental like decline.
that where
But
you
like, he's still on this panel. They all respect his opinion, despite him clearly not maybe being the best health-wise.
were saying based on the Giza and the end of the era, excuse me, I would say that the Maya is within a month of this.
What is circumstantial speech? Circumstantial speech is speech that kind of goes... How do I explain this? You know how the stereotype of like an old person talking and they're like, oh, we went down to the ice cream store and I liked ice cream, and ice cream is so cold, and it was cold in the winter, and in the winter my mother used to get us presents. My favorite present I ever... Like, there's no point, basically. It's speech where it's almost like mid-sentence they're forgetting what they're talking about, and they just keep going off the last thing they remember saying. Yeah. Harold Ebelman, thanks for 45 months, says, 45 months, unfortunately numbered sub-baby. You will be no less loved than the others, but it's good I'm going to therapy right now, I guess. This sub-baby's name is going to be Bartholomew Bubtub.
Everybody knows the age was coming. It's been talked about for 20,000 years.
Trump does a lot of that. Yeah, I stand by what I said.
It's freaking here. Okay, so that means everything you're seeing is disappearing. It cannot be possible for us to stay in one level of consciousness because a new one's being born. And if you think the world is not changing and shifting before your very eyes, you're not looking at it. So where I think it is right now is, I've always said, Shasha, my battle cry was, I believe that the battle for the souls of humankind would be fought in healthcare. I said this for 50 years because I was dead and I had a bunch of spiritual beings and angels or whatever the frick you call them show me insights into where we would be today. So the battle for the souls of humankind.
Also, delusions of being talked to by spiritual beings, angels, demons is a pretty common belief in schizophrenia. Benigagami says, the thing is, even if that's true, the fact that so many Republicans now find the stuff he says credible says as much about them as it does him. At minimum, the guy was abused. He says his father had mercury poisoning for 10 years, but still thinks the guy was very smart. The right's been having a weird combo of veneration and hatred for mental illness for a while now. I mean, Joe Rogan has called Elon autistic and yet is fine with RFK Jr., quote, solving autism. I think those are symptoms of just the fact that Republican viewpoints are how do I put this? Contradictory in general? They just don't have actual beliefs outside of, like, gaining power. Not saying it's, not interesting to look at. But.
Being fought in healthcare would be the single most important issue we're going through. No matter what else is going on, the collapse of a nation, 36 trillion.
Oh no, Harold Elvin, I'm sorry. Did I happen to get that? That sucks. Right, the baby's new first name is Mitchell. Mitchell. We undid it. Are we better now?
Taking care of yourself has to be your greatest focus, and it has to be that now. Why? That'll guide you safely through these periods. I wrote all this down in the book, Josh. Everybody knows this. I wrote this down in a book in...
An Oblivion stream when, please, for those who can't play. That would be fun sometime in the next week. Not sure what day, but we'll probably do that. I think that'd be fun. I'll start a new character, and we can, like, make it together.
1993. But the original part that became the boxes of knowledge or the vision was... I wrote it down in 1977 and took the 1977 script and put it in the 1993 version. So we are exactly where we deserve to be. We have made it to a new age. And we've been consistent light bearers to help each other, like everybody out here, helping each other to get here. Okay? And it's like what Sand said. What do we do now? How do we focus? Because the world is changing, and it will change even faster as the next couple of days go. Right? So my only other thing of really great pride, for me to sit as I'm looking at my political mind, right? And I just went to the inauguration, and I went there so I could say, I'm going there to support free speech, so I could watch all the haters and to see what they said. And so they'd see me and Trump, and they see all that stuff. But I was there, and Kennedy, and they see all that I'd weasel myself in there. And not only that, they don't realize I'm for free speech. And I believe that Robert Kennedy being Health and Human Services, can you imagine that today, watch this, today, and every one of us has contributed this. Today, the history of Camelot, Robert F. Kennedy and JFK, that history rides on his shoulders. And he crosses over into the ultra-conservative.
I'm going to be honest, this is probably an age thing. I don't understand the obsession that older people have with the idea of the Kennedys. Like, it's almost like mythic, the way some of these people describe the fucking Kennedys. And it, like, weirds me out a lot. I don't get it. I don't understand.
Ever screaming.
He did say the history of Camelot.
Northeastern liberal. You are watching a new political party begin to emerge.
I understand that, like, the multiple of them were murdered or died, but, like, so? Like, why is the family mystical because of that?
So what I'm telling you. And if you look at it from that point, you will realize how frickin' amazing times we have, the gift and the joy of living in. Okay?
Troy says, oh no, this guy's definitely disordered. I've known people with dementia, and this is exactly what they sound like. What's his name again? I don't know off the top of my head. If they mention it again, I'll let you know.
So think about your damn self and taking care of yourself and make that your list. So you can clearly see what's going on around you, because it is changing, and it's changing every minute of every day. Why? An age is being born. To the Maya, Sasha, we're in its 13th year. December 21st, 2012. I'm a big Maya junkie. You know, I've studied the Maya for 50 years because I grew up in South Carolina, and I knew everything.
I know everything there is to know about the Maya because I grew up in South Carolina, so I knew everything. It's not a sentence that makes sense.
Okay, and I went to the Olympics in 1968 to see Jimmy Hines run the 100. And I'm some hayseed from South Carolina. And in between track and field, there was women swimming, ice skating, and boxing. So somebody said, do you want to go see the pyramids? Well, you know, I knew it was a trick because there were pyramids anywhere except in Egypt. I already saw it in National Geographic. And so we got in the car and we drove out into this field about 45 minutes from Mexico City. And I took my little bedroll out, we rolled it out, and I slept on this slab. And when I woke up that morning, I was in Teotihuacan, and I was on the sacrificial platform at Teotihuacan, and it wasn't excavated. I have a picture of this, and it wasn't excavated. You know, it was just plastic, bucket, weeds, and crap. It's 1968. And I knew that every fucking thing I'd ever been told in my whole life to that day was a lie. Okay? It was a freaking lie. And if you went down there and you looked at it, you would see that the whole way you're told history is here in America is a freaking lie. Okay? That was 1968. So I got interested in it and looking at it. So the Maya...
You can't follow this guy? No, it's understandable. I'm having trouble following him too, and I'm usually pretty thorough in Crackpot. That's what makes me say that I think he is having, like, cognitive decline. But, like, no one there seems to say anything or notice it. Very strange.
Get on with it. Yes, get over.
I can't play more of that. But yeah. Freyline says, I would say that the fascination with the Kennedys is equal to the fascination with the UK royal family. They were truly seen in the same light by some an older generation. You could easily compare JFK and Princess Diana in public reaction. Strange. Nerdy with a 200 stream streak says, woo, a double century. Also, why am I not surprised this is a real thing? Also, it sounds like this guy watched Black Panther 2 and got confused, although I only just got here, I might have missed something. No, that about covers it.
As the age is, instead of 26,000 years, it's 25,920 years.
I rounded up.
Yeah, well, fair enough, but the Maya's not messing with us about rounding up or rounding down. They clicking it. They think 9 things happen, energetic patterns flow through us in a day. And how to capitalize on that based on where they find themselves and how you look at how the calendar is structured from an analytical point of view, it's the most freaking amazing thing you ever seen in your life. I mean, what in the world could them midgets be freaking thinking?
What?
And thinking it that well. Can you imagine? Think of this. You go down there and there's this pile of rocks and it looks beautiful.
Mr. Peach with a $1 tip says, I am of the understanding that the Camelot thing started before they started to die. It would be so sad to see how far the family has fallen. Many people thought they would be the savior and champions of civil rights.
It's like a little statue and, you know, it's all aligned and it's a little temple. And you can walk 8 yards from it and clap your hands. And the sound it makes is the exact sound of the mating call of the birds who live in the trees around them. Okay? Well, that sounds freaking insane. But I could get an airplane ticket and a bus ticket. So guess what? You can leave here today and go down. You can go down there and you can walk out there on your little tourist list, and it's been there, they know, at least 1,500 years. And you can clap and hear that sound. How in the world could that have been done?
I don't know. Trial and error? I don't know, man. Does that mean it's magic? Rickham with the 210 stream streak says, some of their respect for this guy may just be respect for the elderly. He's on the panel, though. Like, it's not like he's from the audience and they're just like, you know, they actively, like, laud him. They actively, like, later in this, talk about how great he is and how smart he is. I think, to some extent, within these communities, if you can blind others with bullshit hard enough, you're just considered smart. And I think on some level, he's accidentally doing it because he's, like, kind of out there mentally, you know? So, like, no one can understand him because he's not making sense. And they're interpreting that as like, oh, he's really tapped in. He's operating on a really high frequency, you know?
Find the pitch, the range, the step, the calibration, the reset to create a perfect sound of an animal. If that is true and that happens, get a grip, everybody. We've been lied to. So that's where I think the state of the world is, and it's freaking exciting.
Well, those were the weirdest opening comments I've ever heard in my life. And I've chaired a few conferences in my time. Thank you, Daniel. That was beautiful. Brad.
That man is sexy as fuck. Which one?
5.
This guy? No.
Summary. Where were we?
I mean, hey, that's on you. Go for it.
Yeah.
I just think that, you mean the older guy? That's so much worse. That's so much worse.
Yeah, it is a very exciting time, Danyan. And as you said in the setup, Sasha, we're at the end of the Kali Yuga. We're in the process through the Mayan calendar. We're entering the age of Aquarius. And as I was
like that song.
Watching the
That's good.
Illuminati decode Super Bowl
Illuminati on the bingo card.
party with...
We should probably take a look at the bingo card real quick, honestly. Let's do that, since we switched speakers. We can throw Ancient Wisdom on there, why not? Let's see. Vibes-based conspiracy. Doesn't understand their problem is capitalism. Word salad. Is there anything else in the moment? We had the Matrix. Oh, we had Illuminati. Yeah.
With a few of my other speaker friends, including Stephen Bassett.
Wait, what did I say about a bear?
He reminded me that...
No, I don't regret that. I just spoke weird.
In his capacity as the only lobbyist in Washington, D.C. pushing disclosure, that he's getting information that this same period, in 4 weeks from now, there is going to be this explosive disclosure event. So we're going to be introduced to our extraterrestrial brethren, who I think we all know are up there and out there and ready to assist as they have been at this momentous period in time.
Aliens did it on the bingo card. He's implying aliens have been assisting humanity.
Which I would say we have all signed up and volunteered for, that we're all adults in the prime of our lives right now in this transformation.
No offense, man. You think you're in the prime of your life right now? All right. You do you, man.
Helping to push this forward. And Danyan doesn't even have to die again this time. He's going to stick around.
Just one more.
No.
He said 4 weeks from now. Yeah, this was posted 2 weeks ago, but this was filmed in February. So that was 3 months ago. So I wonder how he's doing.
I'm not into Ascension yet, honey.
So
age is how you feel, Hannah. Why do I feel dead?
I think this is the period we've all been waiting for. It really is. It's an amazing time to be alive. And one of my books is called Beyond Esoteric, Escaping the Prison Planet. And this is our escape. This is Ascension. This is how we do it. And it's with...
We're like space Alcatraz.
Health freedom. It's with a transparent government. It's with new educational system and models. And it's all of you understanding this period of time we're in. And we're in this together. So let's ascend. We're the ground crew here. We're the Earthlings here on planet Earth. We're the ones who got to make this happen.
Let's do it.
He's excited. Hell yeah.
Thank you, Brad. Well, the extraterrestrial brethren are not only out there, some of them are down here, some of them are sat next to you on a panel. Ishmael, Perez, sir.
If I'm dead, do you still celebrate my birthday? Yeah, if you could turn it into a holiday, I'd appreciate it. And it's just a holiday where people buy each other DVDs and Blu-rays. And that's the holiday.
Behalf
to revive the industry.
Of the Star Nations. Yeah.
Santa mentions Blu-rays on the bingo card.
What is your take on the status quo?
Oh, I think everybody pretty
I
much
think they imbibed the Jilly juice.
encapsulated.
They don't look dry enough.
Everything, but I agree with every single one of you. We are definitely in some sort of going through the eye of the needle, where we're going to be seeing a translation of one reality into another reality within this, split second, and we have to be ready for that. There is ample evidence that what's going to be happening sometime this spring is very comparable to what happened.
Wait, it's summer, right? Am I crazy? Or at least we're almost on summer, I guess. Okay, I guess we still have time, maybe.
In 1871, they called it the Carrington event, but this time it's supposed to happen 10 times more powerful. So imagine, that event knocked out the telegram back then, right? So,
they think that the electromagnetic polar shift is going to happen this year. Okay, I was wondering what the fuck they were talking about.
Just imagine how it's going to be. And also to validate and confirm the true timekeeping system, which is in alignment with the natural order, is about 13 years off. I was able to study the differences between the Gregorian calendar and the Mayan, which actually is the same as the ancient Lemurian and Atlantean calendar. And I think
it's easy to say when those are fictional. Atlantis on the bingo card.
Egyptian calendar is also in alignment with the original calendar, as well as
the original calendar.
Ethiopian calendar. But we have been operating under the wrong timekeeping system for about 5,000 years ago, ever since we, entered what is known as the age of Kali Yuga, which is now coming to an end, thank God. So we are, about to undergo the biggest shift in human consciousness. And I just hope you guys have your popcorn and water ready or beer or whatever it is that you guys have when you celebrate a jubilee. But also bear in mind that this is not going to just be a planetary jubilee. This is going to be, I would have to say, a galactic jubilee, because it's not just about making first contact with our brethren from the stars, but it's also about making contact with the advanced brethren that have been here all along underneath the earth, deep within the oceans.
We're going to make contact with the deep ones. That'll go well. Historically in fiction, that goes really well. Go for it. Yeah.
I guess, pocket realities, if you really want to consider the fact that we do have pocket realities where civilizations that are millions of years or even hundreds of thousands of years ahead of us are actually monitoring us in a pocket reality, right? We just don't see them. So
what makes it a pocket reality? What if it's a purse reality or even like a fanny pack reality?
It's a great time to be alive right now. And another thing that I wanted to talk about is my good brethren here and comrade Sasha Stone keeps mentioning this term, Homo luminous. Well, even within the scientific community, they've talked about, based on sudden jumps in evolution from, Homo erectus.
It's a flesh pocket
to Homo neanderthalis to Homo sapiens, Homo sapiens sapiens. They're predicting that the next stage of human evolution is Homo neoticus or something. Neoticus. Thank you. My divine counterpart always corrects me when I'm wrong. But
isn't that just Mary Poppins? She had she had a whole the inside her purse was a whole little dimension where all the little people in these people's heads live.
Yes, Trinity to my Neo. I am Neo, right? We're all Neo here. Everyone is Neo here. But the whole point is that we are going to go from this huge level of operating into, I like to compare it, I like to use the analogy of like right now we're operating like typewriters, but when this shift takes place, we're going to go from operating like a typewriter into becoming a quantum computer, but it's an organic quantum computer because we are that living technology. So it's an exciting time to be alive. A lot of things are going to be happening. I believe that this is the year of disclosure because the Earth Alliance and the White Hats are now in power. And yes,
see, this guy believes in white hats. The other guy said no one's coming to save us. Do they not argue about this shit? Like, this guy thinks people are coming to save us, but the other guy thinks they need direct action.
They have been obligated by the higher ups, Commander Valiant Thor, Coriander, Cortec, Hayton, Sirius Hayton, and of course the Ashtar Command, to release the classified information sometime this year because they believe that the Earth is getting ready to once again, or at least they believe that the Earth is once again eligible to become a part of a galactic community. They have seen the signs.
Motherfucker, people in Britain didn't even want to be part of the European Union. You think they want to join a galactic federation? Like, do people like this, these are the same kind of people, by the way, that will say, like, they're very against, like, the concept of a one-world government, but they want a galactic government? Would a galactic... Being part of a galactic government would require us to have some sort of one-world government, because if we're interfacing with the galactic government, who's speaking for Earth? You would need to all say, okay, who's speaking on our behalf? How do we do this? But they're the same people that'll be like, no, we need small local government. We need to get rid of the Fed. But at the same time, they want to be part of a galactic governmental entity? That doesn't make any sense.
The only, we could say, agencies that have been preventing us from becoming a galactic community have been the Earth governments. But there's been a huge shift in power in the last few weeks based on what's happening in the geopolitical arena. And so we are going to be witnessing the fall of what we call the deep state. This cabal that has been
deep state on the bingo card,
running this show for the last 5,000 years.
Wow, they've been running things for 5,000 years. I don't know, maybe they sound qualified. Kind of sounds like they've been holding it together. An unchanged regime for 5,000 years? It's pretty good. Pretty good.
And we are going to be seeing a massive shift as a result of all of this highly classified information that is about to be released to the general public. Thank you.
Good stuff. Thank you, Ishmael. Scott McKay, I know the machinations of that mind of yours, that quantum mind. I also know...
Ooh, his mind is quantum. Fun. This hat is quantum. This bottle is quantum. I'm quantum. QAnon reference for the white hat comment? Yes, I would say yes. I'm gonna get water real quick. I am a thirsty girl. So while I'm gone, Chair will tell you about, 7 Days, the series. Does anyone remember 7 Days? Wish I had early edition. But instead I have 7 Days. Similar premise. You're back.
To some great extent, the machinations of that thing that rattles in your chest cavity, that heart of yours. So I know who you are as the living man, but very interested. You travel nonstop. You conduct thousands of conversations. You're a broadcaster.
All right, this is the guy I'm skipping because he's a boring Trump guy.
I mean, this is getting too calm. When if we're coming to get all this power and really refocusing in an age that's shifting, that's being defined before us, then we have to pull into us that identity and live that identity. We
The
have
Beeroo on the bingo card, did he say it? I missed it.
This is what I think this is what Shasha's trying to show everybody. We have to live in our true selves and who we want to be and our authentic selves. And we better be doing it fast if we only got till next freaking month. It's getting like climate change now.
That's probably a conspiracy theorist in chat. Someone asking if I have a Zionist handler. That's probably conspiracy theorist in chat on the bingo card. All right, conspiracy theorist in chat on the bingo card.
Let's look.
It's true.
Let's look at the mechanics of. Let's look at the mechanics of ascension, or the mechanics of exiting the proverbial matrix. And the matrix, I define the matrix as the fallen light of Atlantis. In simple terms.
I define the Matrix as the fallen light of Atlantis. I know what those words mean separately. I'm not sure what they mean when you put them together in that order, but I'll believe you that it means something.
Because it's still that thrall that we have been emerging through and from. And the axis or the nexus point shift that is fast looming this year, I deem it to be Midsummer's Day into the 20th.
Also anti-Semitism, sure. Overt anti-Semitism on the bingo card.
2nd of June, I'm certain in my own mind this is the axiomatic point. But to be sure,
does it count as thinly veiled? Actually, you know what? He did use Zionism, which Zionism isn't inherently all Jewish people, but he's using it probably as a euphemism for Jewish people, maybe thinly veiled. It's pretty overt, though. It always, in my mind, I'm always like, is it thinly veiled or overt relative to the norm or relative to this show? Because, like, that changes where the bar is quite a bit. We'll go with thinly veiled. That's my call.
End of the Kali Yuga is March this year. We're dealing with a false light Babylonian calendric system, so let's not pay too much attention to it. But in any event, this is the year, in my view, the axiomatic shift point takes place. So what it's inviting is a new dreaming.
The dog whistle, that's what makes it thinly veiled. If it wasn't a dog whistle, if it was just open, it would be overt.
I would reference here the Aboriginal peoples of the world. I would look to the most, in a sense, ignominious, marginalized, disenfranchised of even the Aboriginal peoples. Let's look at the Aboriginals in Australia, Uluru. I'm blessed to have had dealings with them. I'm blessed to have participated in their great ceremony on the 21st of December 2020, which, as some know, was the true end of time. I don't know, Daniel, if you ever knew my late great friend Jose Arguelles.
Oh, yes.
Right. What he did come, he imparted the law of time to me many, many years ago. Okay?
And he knew it.
He knew it, yeah.
He blended Mayan and Aztec.
Yeah, yeah.
By the time the Mayan and the Aztec blended, the Toltec influence had already set in.
That's right.
When they tell the story later, they'll say they get kicked out for asking questions. That's the weird thing. You'd think if they wanted to use, like, the Zionism dog whistle, that would work on someone who, like, supports Israel even? Which I don't. Odd.
Okay, so there's
the dog whistle doesn't work if the only possible thing you could mean is the other thing.
Those deviations come.
But in short, he was the man, the reincarnation of the last of the Mayan high priests, purportedly, and was born in the 1930s. In the 1970s, he decoded the long count Tzolk'in of the Mayans and put 2012 on the map, 21st of December 2012. Thereafter became the biggest meme in the history of the recorded world.
The biggest meme in the history of the recorded world.
Huge accomplishment for one man.
Dick butt.
and in a lifetime.
Absolutely.
He then transitioned in 2011, shortly before the great transition point of 21st of December 2012. That was
You heard it here first, folks. If you're looking to transition, apparently that's the day for it.
auguring, 21st of December 2012 was auguring another 8-year cycle, which ended on the 21st of December 2020. The Aboriginals in Australia and that part of the world, they knew that the ending of time was taking place at that time. And so the new dreaming needed to begin that time, 21st into the 22nd of December 2020. Now, curiously enough, Ishmael, I don't know if this corresponds with any of the date lines in your understanding, but I've also been told by some in the know in the subject that the more nefarious terrestrial elements of the, let's say, the Draco-reptilian elements were exfiltrated.
Reptilians on the bingo card.
Off-world, more or less, end of 2020.
Oh, we did it! We defeated the reptilians! Woo!
Absolutely.
Thought I would have heard about that.
Yeah, there's been a huge
Being a reptilian.
house cleansing due to this accord that was established back in late 2019, beginning in 2020, known as the Artemis Accord, which stated that all of the negative non-terrestrials that were still lurking within our solar system, their time was up. And so that gave the Galactic Alliance Federation, whatever you want to call it, the benevolent...
Ash says, hey, Hannah, how are you? Sorry to hear about your defeat. You know, we reptilians just didn't want it hard enough, you know? We went out and played at 100%, but the other team, they were playing at 110, and when you go out there and you just give it your all, you just leave it all out on the court. That's all you can do. Sports?
The green light to begin the elimination and removal of these dark entities from the underground bases, from the different off-world colonies within the secret space program, and so on and so forth. So that was a very important treaty that began in 2020. So
Beautiful.
that is correct.
Thank you. So then see it as this. That
negative non-terrestrials. They say not negative non-terrestrials because it sounds less silly than if they said evil aliens. What they mean is evil aliens. Do I practice black magic? Yes, I'm gonna cast it on you right now. Woo! You're cursed with bad dreams for 1,000 years! Did it work? What if I use a... Hold on. Woo! I don't have a theremin. Now you have diarrhea. You're welcome.
those most pernicious and nefarious and malevolent temporal 3D terrestrial.
It's more like brown magic.
Exfiltrated off world in 2020, and that was in the great lull, that weird year of lockdown, right, of what the fuck was going on. So it was an extraordinary year because this great transition was taking place at that time, at that end of time. But that allowed for the new dreaming to emerge, because as those most malevolent and embedded intelligences were exfiltrated off-world, it freed up humanity in a sense to begin the new dreaming. In that sense, the era of Covidiacy, I think you were just saying it a moment ago, was in a sense a blessing, the greatest blessing we ever had. And I couldn't agree more with that. It was such a beneficence for humanity to be faced with such stark wickedness, murdering grandmothers and grandfathers and murdering babies and children, right, in broad day.
What the fuck is he talking about?
Daylight, in Technicolor, and almost celebrate.
Does he even know what Technicolor is? Technicolor doesn't just mean it's in color. It's a specific kind of color technique. Restrip, whatever.
The fact and allowing tens of millions of masked troglodytes, bureaucrats and technocrats, the third-party interventionists, to reign supreme.
The man who which is the person who asked about the magic thing, says, Once a woman who I knew bought a black candle in the shape of a man, and she put animal teeth in it and burned it to curse a man, and he had to go to the dentist after that. I don't know if you know this, but on a long enough time scale, everyone needs to go to the dentist. You're supposed to go like every 6 months. And as you get older, you're going to need damage to your teeth repaired. I don't know if you know this. This is a really hot tip for you. Magic is not real. So if you ever hear a story of someone doing magic as a heuristic, you can be self-assured that the parts of the story involving magic were irrelevant, because magic is not real. Well, that's good. Glad I could solve that problem for you. That'll probably actually lower your anxiety, too. I'd be really afraid if I was out here thinking witches were real. Damn. Scary life.
Trogs came out.
You had to get a tooth pulled out. It wasn't a normal checkup. And you believe that that was because someone burned a candle. Can you explain to me the connection between why burning a black candle with an animal tooth would cause that man to have tooth issues? And explain to me in specific detail how that would have an effect.
Did they not? Those dirty little customers. In every walk of life, in every profession, they got their little bit of power. So the petty tyrants ran this world for that year. Do you remember? It was so freaky because we were all paralyzed in the thrall.
The other day.
Well, for sure. It's still going on in California. Be sure of that. It's still going on in Whole Foods, you know, seeing people staggering around in masks on, going, for real. My point is this. The new dreaming is now able to emerge. The galactic intelligences have always known that the true temple...
Every 6 months, did your dentist handlers tell you to say that, Hannah? Yes. Every time I get in the car, sometimes there's a dental assistant there with floss ready to garrote me and make me advocate for dental oral health care. I'm a negative example because I lack a tooth and my teeth are gross.
Of creation is
I have to warn people to not trod the path that I have gone down.
Human being in this temporal universe. Therefore, us awakening, cleansing, detoxing, going through this huge purge is of paramount significance, not just to us.
The conspiracy theorist says, I don't know example how, I assume it's exactly. I don't know exactly how this magic works or what demons she's trading with, but the fact is she knows somehow how this works and her intention came through. This woman was trading with demons. I've witnessed possessions before. All right. So I recognize that you probably believe these things genuinely. Maybe you're just a troll. If so, cool, whatever. But if not, and you genuinely believe these things, people believe that they're possessed, or sometimes are suffering from mental illness, or sometimes they're just primed to act as though they're possessed, but they're not in actuality. We see this with people like Bob Larson. He's a well-known sort of quote-unquote celebrity exorcist who does that kind of stuff. People aren't actually filled with demons. Demons aren't real. Magic isn't real. All of it's human behavior. Humans do some really, really wild stuff for all sorts of reasons. I'm not making a judgment on it necessarily. It's just not magic, which is good. That's a relief that it's not magic. No evil demons. That's good. That's a good thing. Olded Undying says, I'm watching you with a friend who's never seen you before. He just looked you up and was like, oh, she's trans. I didn't know that. Passing high five. I always find that incredibly suspect. Because there definitely are people who clock me, but I know everyone has a different standard, so. Benekagami says, this is kind of the point it was trying to make about alt-hist. The MAGA is now spending so much time rejecting any reality that doesn't align with their ideology, accepting anything that makes them feel comforted, that over time their thoughts are becoming nearly indistinguishable from someone with dementia or schizophrenia. I think it's why they don't notice Trump's mental decline. He's still saying things they agree with, so he's fine. Biden, Harris, Walls, they're the crazy ones. Okay, I can understand that viewpoint. Certainly. Yeah. They're not going to notice a lack of consistent reality point of view because they also lack it. Sure.
But to the entire galactic.
It was a woman and she was possessed by a demon who made her speak in deep voice in Spanish, but she does not speak Spanish, but the demon made her speak the words. Then eventually she dropped down on the ground unconscious and she woke up normal.
¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
You can do deep voices. You can do deep voices. You can do deep voices and speak Spanish even if you don't really speak Spanish. Fun fact. That wasn't a demon, by the way. That was a performance. You're welcome.
Plane. And that's why they're all bearing witness through us and to us and at us and with us. It's all collective. The cascade of the galactic genome is finding its way into the human genome.
But Sasha, it's still fitting in the structure
He's German, they don't joke, they're very serious people.
of the Olmec Mayan tradition and interpretation of the calendar. Watch everything that we're talking about, the same as you were saying about Giza. That's the sun, that's Amun-Ra.
Yes.
Well, also, what happened was, when everybody's writing down a certain date, remember, back then, we didn't have electricity.
You thought they got me? They did. This is all a facade now. The real Hannah's gone. It's all right. You're better with me.
Operated on the lunar cycle and the way the cycles of the Earth and the 7.82 resonance. So they didn't have to know a specific date. They felt it.
Yes.
They perceived it through the nature of before we had electricity and all that. But you have to take that into consideration as the means of communication. But every bit of what we're talking about and the time frame of that, we're in massive shifts right now. Everything is changing no matter what you think. The Maya and the Olmec, what you see, this is happening, what Brad is saying. This is what's happening. What do we do about it? And I think that's why you're here. What do we do? This is really happening.
That's my next question, if you don't mind. Scott, cuff the man and restrain him. But no, that's brilliant, because you've actually opened perfectly into the question, Daniel. So thank you for that. You definitely are a mystic.
Lizard people are immune to possession. That's actually a misunderstanding. We're resistant to possession, which means we get advantage on our saving throws, but we're not immune.
The question is what to do.
Who loves you?
Right. McKay, restrain that man. So,
the man who likes is I know because I speak Spanish. Her accent was fluent and she said advanced sentences. The voice was that of an adult male and sounded nothing like her actual voice. Either she was possessed or she recently learned Spanish fluently and is a world record level voice actor for just one prank. All right, it's the last one then. If it's either of those things, it's the latter, because demons aren't real. Like, I really don't know what else to tell you here. Your anecdotal experience, while it may have seemed very real for you, is not substitute for the fact that there is no evidence that demons or magic exist. I know that it probably felt real to you, and I can respect that to some extent, but it's just not evidence. Dr. Worm says, notice when they say people spoke a language they didn't know, it's never that they actually held a conversation and they just said some words. They probably just heard it somewhere. Once I'd love to see a James Randi-esque thing where they bring someone who actually speaks conversational Latin to an exorcist.
this is the point. And my question is going to be couched in a slightly fun way. Bianca, starting with you. If you were given 5 minutes in the Oval Office and you had Trump, love or hate him, had Trump there, and you had Kash Patel there, and you have Bobby Kennedy, let's assuming that the administration that looks as though it's coming in is in, and you had Tulsi Gabbard, and you've got these four characters there, sat there, and you have 5 minutes unfiltered, what would your advisement to them be about the great changes that they can make in terms of policy and the framing of so-called policy, which defines the legal capacity for us to act in this world? So what would your 5 minutes be?
My pagan man says, I believe in magic and it doesn't work like that. How does it work?
What kind of subject matter would you be raising in that 5 minutes? Again, unfiltered.
So I haven't had a television for a while, and I don't know most of those people, but I do know.
I do like the implication that there's no other way to learn information about the world other than a TV. Like, she couldn't pick up a newspaper or, like, read anything anywhere else.
That one of them is very sick, and in my my platform is about frequencies. So I would spend those 5 minutes and show them how they can be healed.
The conspiracy theorist says she spoke conversational Spanish and had entire conversations where she talked about that she can hear some kind of whistling sound, that she wants to murder her husband, and then she said racial slurs. Well, that wasn't very cool of her. The dick move. Penakagami says. Another thing I noticed, I think you mentioned this in the past too, but while conspiracy theorists have great all-encompassing enemies, they generally always have a good guy to take them out, or God, or good aliens to fight the reptoids, for example. They reject Marxist views of capitalism because Marxism says it's up to them to solve the problem, and that sounds too terrifying. Hence, a one-world government is fine as long as the good guy does it. I think you're giving them too much credit to think they even know what Marxism is. But, like, yeah, I get what you're saying. It's easier to imagine a savior than it is to take action collectively to change embedded, calcified systems.
Way to go.
And it would not take that long for them to feel the effect and be able to do it in an affordable manner for everyone.
Demons don't possess people? Why do you think demons exist?
Well, I like that.
I like that we have two opposing people who believe in magic now in chat. Interesting.
We'll throw Elon Musk into the room as well. All right. Elon has sat there as well. Derek, how would you address this clutch of individuals if you had 5 minutes unfiltered?
So it was mentioned in my introduction that I'm an investigative journalist. Is anybody familiar with the website The Last American Vagabond, Ryan Christian or Whitney Webb? We're all collaborators, and we just published a new article, actually, as I'm sitting here, called "Meet Every Peter Thiel Acolyte in the Second Trump Administration." So my conversation would be to say, remove all those people, including, for those who are excited about RFK, Whitney just did a great piece showing how there's a man named Jim O'Neill, who is the deputy secretary under RFK.
Actually, one of them says, magic is easy when a rabbit and a hat love each other very much.
In the HHS, so if he does
to keep my hat safe from rabbit cum.
Get in there, he's probably there to stifle him and to block him from doing anything. If you don't know who Peter Thiel is, he's a steering committee member of the Bilderberg Group, and he's also the co-founder of Palantir, which is basically a private surveillance firm that's been working with the CIA since the very beginning. They're also,
we can say, accidentally based for the anti-Peter Thiel thing,
helping fund Israel's genocide and working with their AI.
Hey, okay.
To
accidentally based on the bingo card.
Kill people. So my conversation, if I had 5 minutes, would be to say, remove every single person in this cabinet who's connected to Peter Thiel and get rid of Elon Musk.
Actually, Scott, I'm going to bring you in here. I'm going to jump you ahead of the queue. Do you want to answer any of that? And what would your advisement be to that clutch? I know that you're on the side of many millions, hundreds of millions in America who are rather delighted at the fact that with the apparency of leadership, which is taking a broadsword to the age-old stranglehold and hegemony of so much of the evil of government. So I think there's an interesting counter-argument. Scott, what is your sense?
Well, Sasha and I have had this, and I'm glad you made your comments that you just made, because that's very interesting. We bring up Elon.
Can you expound on that, Jay's a proxy? What did they say specifically that you think is that?
Elon as well. Yeah, and we all should be worried to some degree, but I've had patience and I've given
guy
against
again
them
because he's boring
and bringing a Democrat leading him. I don't like any
Cabard, Dr. Sandra, you have 5 minutes with Elon Musk. Kash Patel, tell us.
Saying that he's connected to millions of people. Yeah, that'll count. Loud minority thinks they're the silent majority.
Cabard, Donald Trump, and who's the other one? Bobby Kennedy. Who we know and love.
Oh, what a fun game that would be. We could have so much fun. Yeah, it does bring me back to, of course, Robert Kennedy, has done such great work for such a long time exposing things, hasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah,
no.
he has serious balls.
He has to win.
Serious, yeah.
The man's nuts.
So he's done amazing work for a long time. I have to admire him for that. He has one of our EEQs, by the way, also. But I know I had, there's like the top gold dealer on the planet.
Benikagami says, question for the magic believers. How does one distinguish fake magic from real magic? How would one distinguish a fake prophet from a real prophet?
Broker on the planet for like the gold mines and things. And she prays like 12, 16 hours a day. She's a golden enlightened.
Oh, that's a problem. That's too much. Even if you're a religious person, surely you must understand that that's dysfunctional. You can't spend your entire life praying.
Being as we're going into this golden age, fully understanding what we're, that we're going back to that, the whole golden power of the healing power of the gold and the golden effulgences of who we really are. And she's an amazing, amazing being. And she sent me a message. Get this message right away to them. Right away to them. Want me to go through my friend, beautiful, beautiful, another just an angelic being, Marla Maples.
Beloved friend, good woman.
Just adore her. We talk, we hang out together.
Georgia
It's fun.
Beach.
Yeah, she's
Tennessee. She's Tennessee.
She's Tennessee, that's true. She's Tennessee. And she was putting a center there with her dad and stuff. But they tell her they need a 48 unit. Tell Trump he needs a 48 unit system in that White House. As soon
so you're gonna sell him all health crap. That's a good use of your time.
48 unit EE system in that White House as soon as possible. So that's probably be my conversation with all of them. And Elon Musk, we don't know what game he's been playing. I know he's been playing on the dark side, but I know he had some, COVID woke up a lot of people. That great awakening could not.
They left their little portmanteaus. Euronymous says, word salad, yummy, yummy. Word salad, yummy, yummy.
Well, not, can't be stopped. Here we are. But even him, because, he had some awakenings in that, he lost his son, daughter. I'm not sure which one.
Oh, Lord. Fuck off, bitch.
The son became a girl that went trans, and he
went trans.
Was really,
transphobia on the bingo card.
Really, really upset about losing that. So that was one of his wake-up calls. He had vaccine damage. That was another one of his personal wake-up
No, he didn't. Holy shit.
calls.
These people are deranged.
And started standing up for freedom of speech after all this stuff. So
I like that to them, freedom of speech is just like the right to say any nonsense and not be fact-checked. Crazy shit. H-Bird says, once you go trans, you change all your plans.
Let's give him some credit.
But
and I love Tulsi Gabbard. She's from Hawaii, She's a good one.
So you're not going to give them any advice. You're going to turn on the ES system, right?
Yes. Yeah, we're going to turn those suckers on, activate their light bodies, because the cells vibrate and resonate with the power of truth. The power of truth.
The cells vibrate with the power of truth and other empty statements that mean nothing. Benikagami says, man, I really love how many people see powerful rich assholes with tons of bodyguards. Some of them use children as human shields, as brave. No such veneration for firefighters, EMTs, teachers during a shooting. Protesters in the face of authoritarian governments, children who survive abusive parents or real cults, etc.
And
yes, shilling scamming on the bingo card.
The technology is for accelerated evolution. We need to, I was asking God, we need some help on this planet, God. We need serious help. How do we create that quantum shift of consciousness quickly? And the technology.
Most people don't agree with our crazy bullshit. Certainly God will intervene.
What was given, it activates the light at the core of the DNA. Homo luminous. We are the bodies and beings of light. Well, we need to turn some of those lights on. We need some enlightenment in the White House.
Very good. So Dr. Sandra recommends Donald Trump doing Ho'oponopono, right?
Ho'oponopono, yeah, absolutely.
Very good. Thank you, Sandra. Wonderful. Brad, Okay, you've just...
One of these people learn what quantum means. If they learned what quantum meant, they wouldn't be able to use it as effectively in their word salad, so that wouldn't help.
been wheeled in.
By the way, we're a little over halfway through the stream. If you like the stream, make sure you consider following if you're not already following, or subscribing on YouTube. If you want to help support the stream, you can become a subscriber and get rid of ads on Twitch and also get access to the emotes. You can gift subscriptions, which helps the channel a lot. Or become a member on YouTube. All right, end of self-promotion.
And Sandra's been wheeled out of the Oval Office. You've got 5 minutes.
Well, maybe I'm being overly idealistic, but I would suggest that we are entering the age of transparency, where we're going to be able to read people's auras, including theirs. Their actions are going to be
You better shape up, Trump, or we'll read your goddamn aura.
very transparent. So get with the program and start opening all this up even more than it's been, and really starting to get all this out there, from all the things such as health to government waste, which we're starting to see now. I just saw that yesterday the Pentagon's starting to be audited. Oh boy. Oh boy.
And the IRS.
It's not being audited because they aren't auditors. Sophie, thanks for 1111 Canadian dollar super chat, says, ooh, repeating numbers. Thank you.
That's right.
And of course, Trump keeps talking about getting rid of it. Isn't that awesome?
So we got to get rid of all these institutions.
Again, some of these people want to join a galactic government, but they think the IRS shouldn't exist. Like, what the fuck?
Really, from the bottom up.
Do they not know if there was a galactic government, there would probably be taxes associated with it? At least to some extent. That's how governments usually work.
My good friend Alex Collier says the only federal institution that's worth saving is the postal system. Just get rid of all the rest. Crush them down to the bottom and start.
That's truly foolish people who do not understand how society functions. Very sad.
What's happening, Brad?
And to get rid of the IRS. You're absolutely right, Sandra, and the Federal Reserve.
Yeah, the banksters. We're going to go to gold-backed economy. That's in process. It's all happening.
That's not good. There's a whole variety of reasons that's a bad idea.
It's inevitable. It has
Well,
to
the
be.
only one that I would want to talk to, Sasha, would be Bobby Kennedy. And I would tell Bobby Kennedy the name of the guy that Derek just said, and to have him killed.
Teal.
Okay? Because if this guy is the one that's going to stop Bobby Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy from achieving the goals he's talking about, he needs to go.
So hashtag Teal.
Yeah. O'Neill. I thought his name was O'Neill.
Very good.
But so this is what I think. I think that all these...
You just threatened to murder someone.
All this exposure comes down to this. In Health and Human Services, to audit Health and Human Services is going to be the greatest...
Hello, FBI, is this a threat on the bingo card?
...reality check for Americans. To audit Health and Human Services, who we depend...
Oh, yeah, he's about to go on his, like, Pizzagate rant.
...on for the...
Ashley, you want a boomer voice. I don't want my dang tax dollars to be paying for Andorian kids to get gender reassignment surgery.
...the core nature of our health care. Wonder if there's as much fraud in that.
Lead poisoning is wild. They really baked that shit in there for, like, boomers and Gen X. Ooh, baked in. It's okay. I'm just 30% microplastics, which is clearly much better.
Corruption in that. And the NIH, wonder if there's that much corruption in it. We all know it is. But that's going to be a radical moment in your souls, everybody. I'm telling you. And it's going to come. Everything has to stop him. And the crossover from healthcare and children's defense sets a whole new way of exposing so much evil in America. I know this as a fact.
They say neurological plasticity is important, so, like, it's probably good, right?
So I would ask you to call your senator tomorrow, because the confirmation is on Wednesday, and say you stand for Bobby Kennedy getting approved of that as a constituent, and you ring them up. I'm doing it every day. I don't care.
Good job, Republicans. You got the guy that this genius here thinks will make a good Health and Human Services guy in. Woo! Are we winning yet? Jeronimus says me when a thinly veiled threat occurs.
We play. Do you? Is that a threat?
I love Scott.
Trolling them.
Exactly. I need that opportunity, Sasha, in the political nature of where we all are, to have that opportunity. Everybody thinks it's about health care. Watch this, everybody. Watching this for years, and I know how to find federal funding. I worked in Washington. You know, I was a defense contractor. In Health and Human Services are the GSA contracts that prove that we were capturing children and picking them up off an airlines.
Yeah.
And then we were taken to my holding houses and running through the under to Homeland Security, and then we were passing them off, and they were transported somewhere. And there's 34,000 of them we can't find.
Yeah.
That pissed me off. So I started looking for it, and I've done this for years now. I started looking for it. So in Health and Human Services,
I always wonder with stuff like this, whether it's him or Cataspinda, who clearly just lost their goddamn minds. What was that first moment for them, you know? Where something shifted in their brain, and they're like, they looked at something and they were no longer looking at it from a reality perspective and started seeing it through a paranoid perspective. H-Bird says, I wish I were a Barbie. I'd spend most of my time without any clothes on. My foot would get chewed by a dog, and then after a few years of being played with, I'd get put in a box in the basement for all eternity. Such an easy life. Technically, you can do that now. You could just be a nudist with a foot fetish, and then you'll get buried after you die. It's basically the same experience.
Which Bobby Kennedy is supporting children. If he audits these transportation contracts and asks the question, where did you take that child?
Very good.
Where did you take that child? I worked 4 years to get this in place, everybody. I worked 4 years. And if we pull this off, we'll strike a blow that will be so wobbling to them. They would have never seen us coming. No one could even imagine that Bobby Kennedy and the whole liberal dynasty crosses the line over health care and children's defense funds and some whales, screaming liberal, addicted to heroin for 14 years, and a damn Kennedy. I like the son of a bitch, okay? And for him to be able to have the place to go and say, look at these contracts and find these children. And what he will see in the ranks and the contracts that were 3 months to 10 years old. What the frick are you going to do with a 3-month to a 10-year-old child? Or organ harvesting?
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Oh, he's claiming they're harvesting organs.
Slaves, sex slaves, sweat boxes. Okay? This is reality, everybody. This is where we have this opportunity to think about this openly, just like what Shaw said, the matrix is shifting around us, and that we can spiritually sit here and influence it because we are aware, and we can take an opportunity and we can think about it. But these were somebody's children. Okay, and if my country contributed to child trafficking and sex trafficking of these children, and the frickin' record says they did.
Narrator, the record did not indicate that.
You can read English and understand what the General Services Administrative subcontractor for the Health and Human Services says. And that's how your country operates. And if they are smuggling children, I need that in the world. I need the world to be able in Health and Human Services that this occurred. And
beautiful.
This is how close we are, Sasha.
Thank you, Dan.
Sasha.
Yeah!
Beautiful.
Yeah! Call your senator!
Oh, he's got energy.
I think I still have 90 seconds with the president. I didn't quite get in my final words. And that is everything with Health and Human Services, everything with medical practices is going to transition away from the allopathic medical model that the Rock.
Allopathic just means medicine. Means real medicine.
Feller's hijacked.
Yeah, we'll go over the bingo card after this.
100 years ago.
I mean, this is the whole... in a minute, we will.
And we're moving into the new health of sound, of color, of frequency, of meds, and everything is going to change in the 21st century. So
very good. Well, Ishmael, you pulled the short straw. You're at the end here. You're the last one in the Oval Office. You're representing probably a great deal more than just Homo.
Honestly, pretty normal for this show, unfortunately.
Luminous,
3T Apollo.
What is the basis of your 5 minutes?
All right, let's take a look at the bingo card real quick, since it has been a bit since we took a look. My goodness. What? We had aliens did it, I know that. Has anyone mentioned chemtrails? I'd be shocked if they didn't. Deep state, of course. Reptilians. Thinly veiled anti-Semitism. Planet X Nibiru. Transphobia, transvestigation. Shilling scamming. Dimension beyond our own for the pocket dimensions. Incorrectly believes evidence is self-evident. Hannah mentions Blu-rays. Loud minority thinks they're a silent majority. Uses AI. Conspiracy theorists tells on themselves. QAnon referenced. Hello FBI, is this a threat? Did we have hypocrisy? When did we have hypocrisy? And when did we have speaks to aliens regularly? Furry symbology is fine, and I know we had accidentally based, wherever that is. Where's accidentally based? There it is. Oh, we did have Atlantis. I don't think we've had misunderstanding of Eastern religions yet, unless I missed something, which is possible. It has been a lot. What about the man with the Mayan stuff? Be more specific? Yeah, Mayan is Mesoamerican. Benikagami says, I do wonder sometimes if people in the government intentionally fuck with some of these people in their ranks, either for hazing to ruin the credibility so they can't whistleblow or practice psyops. I'm gonna guess no, but who knows? Wait, what's going on with Tea Time Tea? Can't ping me. What do you need to ping me? Correlation is... Oh yeah, correlation isn't causation for the, yeah, for the tooth pain story. Tea Time Tea, can I see your bingo card? Can you post a link to it in the Discord, perhaps?
Minutes. Well, you know, for what?
Like in the live stream chat?
4 or 5 years now, we've been told that Hillary Clinton, Obama, and all the members of this cabal have been arrested.
Clinton, Obama, Biden on the bingo card. Take a look at the live stream chat.
And sent to Gitmo. The first thing I would...
There it is. Let me take a look at this bingo card. Accidentally based. Atlantis, Free Space, Planet X, Nibiru, Conspiracy Theorist shows up in chat. Tea Time Tea! You win! Hooray! Woo! So, I can either gift your sub randomly, gift a membership randomly, or gift you a sub on Twitch. Unfortunately, for whatever reason on YouTube, there's no way to just gift someone a membership on YouTube. So what would you like me to do? Let me know.
I would say is show us the evidence that these are just clones, that the people that have been in power for the last 4 years are just clones of the originals that you guys supposedly told us
Random sub?
you took to Gitmo. That's the first thing I would say is give us the evidence. Who has been hung? Is Dr. Fauci hung? Have you guys captured?
I'd have to check. All right, so there's our gift sub of the day. We'll still play bingo for fun, but that's the official winner.
Bill Gates, and by the way,
Oh, you said you would donate a sub? Shit. Well, if you want to, go ahead, Altered Undying, but I already did it, because I forgot.
Elon is a Trojan horse. Get rid of him. I agree. I'm sorry, but yeah, Elon, if you guys knew his history, man, he was the reason why the Martian colony fell 2 million years ago. According
I'm sorry, what?
to the intergalactic records, Mars was a thriving human society.
Clones on bingo? Yeah.
With a flourishing, positive ecosystem, and they also bought the bait and fell into the transhumanist timeline, and as a result, they ended up in a nuclear holocaust. But anyways, that's a different story. That's galactic.
How did transhumanism lead to a nuclear holocaust?
History. Go to my book if you read my book if you guys want to.
Oh, it's clickbait for his book. Makes sense.
Learn about that. But the whole point is this: I would just say, bring us back to the gold standard. If you guys have been promising that all of this wealth that you guys took from the cabal is going to be coming back to the people, where is that? We are all waiting for our funds in order to implement our humanitarian projects. Bring those funds to the people. That's what I would say.
Nice. Beautiful. Okay.
Can I jump in there for a second, Sasha, on that point?
You want to touch on that?
Yeah. And you're right, we do need proof. But I just want to throw this out there, for some affirmation of what...
I'm sorry, we're asking for proof now? Beachbird says, gold isn't valuable enough. Let's move to the inkjet ink standard.
Is going on. About 6 weeks ago, maybe 2 months ago, a very close friend of mine, he's a renowned eye surgeon, and somebody may have heard me talk about this on Patriot Street Fighter, Dr. Rick Abramson.
Skipping him again because he's incredibly boring relative to the other people.
Engineering a multilateral initiative in Africa. There are 9 governments ultimately involved. We're dealing at head of state level. And so as I was asking the question, how would you address, the head of state in the Oval Office and his clutch of key advisors, I know I'm doing that in real time. I'm putting questions. I've got prime ministers on the phone asking.
Which prime ministers have you on the phone?
Because in Africa, there is about a renaissance is kicking off this year. The younger political leaders are claiming back Africa for Africans in the same way that the incumbency is claiming America for Americans, ostensibly.
Those are not even close to the same thing. Are you fucking kidding me? Holy shit. Comparing the history of colonialism and imperialism in Africa to Americans being salty about brown people. My fucking god. I just wanna skin myself and jump off a bridge. I just can't.
But it's happening in Africa in a huge way. It's happening in Southeast Asia as well and other parts of the world. Africa is where we're focused. And when I sat down for 3 hours a couple of weeks ago, as I was leaving Southern Africa, heading to my home in Southeast Asia, I had a 3-hour meeting with an incoming prime minister. I won't say which country. Takes the reins in about 2 weeks' time. And he asked me, it was a 3-hour dinner, and he was asking me, what would it take for me to come back to Africa and get back into the politicking sphere? And I said, no money on earth would ever get me to get back into that game. And I do have a backstory there, as some of you know. But what he said to me was, can you give me seminal advice? If you were to come in to central government and we had a clean slate, what would your advisement be? And I said 2 things. I said, if you're going to take the reins of the country in 2 weeks' time or 3 weeks' time, unilaterally eradicate all synthetic molecules. Mm-hmm. That's it.
What?
He said, you're mad. And I said,
yeah, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
Polyester is banned. every... What the fuck are you talking about?
But you're fucked up. I said your country is the poorest country in Africa.
I don't think it's because of polyester.
And you're already on the floor. You're at 0 point. So how about follow the line of Bobby Kennedy here? I'll patch the support in from Washington to you guys. Eradicate all synthetic molecules from your country. Be the first nation on earth to do that. You will rid yourself of the source code.
This guy's going to get announced as a surgeon, the new Surgeon General, isn't he? I'm going to vomit.
Of the devil. It may take 3 to 5 years to cleanse the soil, the air, the water, and the microbiome of your 20 million population, but you will do it. You will allow the angelic template to surface once you have rid the synthetic molecules. One, he said, what's the second piece of advice? I said, the second piece is tokenize and ascetize the entire nation yourselves. No further...
Oh no! Crypto bullshit too!
Third-party intervention. Eradicate the SWIFT code mechanism, have no further dealings with the BIS, the IMF, the World Bank, the IMF, the IFC. I said my own law commission headed up.
Nemesaur, wow, with a $50 tip says, watching this during work may have been a mistake. I think my brain is shutting down in self-defense. I'm sorry to hear that. Thank you for the tip.
By that woman will teach you how to do it. But you can reclaim every square inch of the territory of your nation for your people.
Did he really speak to the head of an African country? Is he lying? I can't tell. I'm not sure. There was that one head of state that talked to the Maxwell Chikumbusco scammer who had the infinite energy device that was just like solar generators off Amazon and, you know, electric cars from China. So like there's at least one president in one of the nations in Africa that I'm aware of that deals in the woo-woo stuff. So it could be him, but otherwise, I don't know.
Tokenize and ascetize it and step away from all third-party intervention. All priests, all bankers, all doctors in that sense. All
okay, I don't know if you know this, but trying to be isolationist is not good. He's effectively putting forward the Junsei ideology of North Korea. Which, I don't know if you know this, North Korea does not do great economically.
Anyone standing between the human and their own salvation. So that's the piece, curiously enough, we've arrived at. After 25 years of work in my life, it's about synthetic molecules and understanding how that became the source code of interventionism into our lives. How it really crept in, and the glyphosates and the fluorides and the phosphates and the, you know, strontium, and barium, all of that.
Not the strontium!
It comes down to healthcare.
Yeah, but it's also biosphere. You'll recall in 20, Dr. Sandra was there. We did the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into the weaponization of the biosphere in Bali in Indonesia in 2019. We also did the 3-day seeding, the World Health Sovereignty Summit with Del Bigtree and Dr. Robert O. Young, and that's the point I'm going to get to here. In our Judicial Commission of Inquiry into weaponization of the biosphere, 6 months before COVID broke out, we were warning the world of that, what was about to happen. And one of the blessed souls giving testimony in the Judicial Commission of Inquiry in Indonesia was I was chief counsel on that tribunal, and the Bishop of Jerusalem was on the commission, the Chief Justice Sir John Walsh and others, and the man giving...
By the way, speaking of North Korea, I don't remember if you guys remember, I used to cover occasionally, there were some times we did streams about North Korean propaganda, and that North Korean propaganda tour that's like the same standard tour. I think they updated the tour, because I was watching some travel vlogs more recently of some people who went to North Korea, and it seems like the tour got changed. So we might have to dive into that at some point.
Testimony was Dr. Robert O. Young. Can I just ask a show of hands? Who's heard of Dr. Robert O?
Is this guy delusional, or was he actually involved in government? I don't know off the top of my head.
O. Young. Right. Dr. Robert O. Young is in a prison cell.
Again.
Okay, as of yesterday.
Again.
Again.
Convicted on all counts.
Convicted on all counts, facing sentencing in a couple of weeks' time.
What for?
So here's the thing. If I were in the Oval Office speaking to President Trump and Robert Kennedy, who I know, and the others, I would ask them to look no further than that miscarriage of justice and to understand that the sacrificial execution of the life and times of an extraordinary man, an extraordinary healer, Dr. Robert O. Young, is one sacrifice too far.
No, he's saying if he talked to Trump and Kennedy, he doesn't actually.
It cannot be allowed,
to my knowledge,
to happen. So that, to me, Robert O. Young.
They're probably state charges, and I don't think this guy knows that the president can't pardon state charges.
Is the line in the sand. Now, Scott McKay and I, later today, will start drawing up the battle lines, and we'll be reaching out to, obviously, all of our friends, Del Bigtree.
Sophie with a $20 Canadian dollar super chat says, I donated $20.25 to Mark Carney's Liberal campaign recently. It was prompted donation amount in a text message. Nice. Thank you very much for your 2025 super.
Even Kennedy will reach out to everyone we.
Orion says in February 2025, he was convicted by a jury in North County, San Diego on a range of charges including elder abuse, theft from an elder, and practicing medicine without a license. All right, so he's a fucking scumbag. Wow, these people are advocating for the release of someone who abused and used elderly people? I'm shocked.
We will forge.
Yeah, but we need a one-pager, though, Sasha.
Yep.
We need a one-pager.
Good.
So that everybody can assimilate it, put it out. You know, let's organize ourselves, everybody. Come on, let's do something.
Yeah, indeed.
Let's push somebody around. Let's yell at somebody.
Jesus Christ, that guy's energy is so fucking deranged.
We, the people, have the power now.
Come on.
Very good.
Yeah, who's going to put together the one-pager?
We'll do that.
Well, we've got a fairly good grasp of universal syntax, so let my crew have our first pass. And
let's do it.
Very good.
Universal syntax, aka quantum grammar. Wow, what is this, a crossover episode?
I'll put it out.
Beautiful. Thank you. Without the drawl, Daniel.
Sorry, but you're the one that has the draw.
We're reaching tinfoil singularity, where all conspiracy theory is one and the same, and it just becomes a new religion.
Very good.
Asha.
So, friends, let's just now throw the mic out. Questions? Anyone here want to speak to any part of what we've been discussing today? Yeah. Oh, I'm not going to give you background on him right now, but he is the most vilified and targeted.
I'm not going to tell you what he did, but trust me, he's vilified, okay? What's he being vilified for? Don't worry about it, bitch, okay? He's being vilified.
Medical doctor in the United States today. He's been targeted.
Except he's not a medical doctor. He got charged with practicing without a license, so he's not a doctor. He doesn't have a license. He can't practice.
For years. His great crime was 20 plus years ago curing everyone that came to his clinic of stage 4 terminal cancers. He is a
Okay, well, that's definitely not happening, because that's not how that works.
remarkable healer and doctor. But he got caught up in the dragnet that the AMA, the FDA, the CDC, and the NIH laid down for doctors. Any good practitioner of medicine is in the dragnet of these deviants, and he was one of the early birds who got caught up.
Wow, he's upset that his friend went to jail, rightfully so. I have to use the bathroom real quick. While I use the bathroom, Chair will tell you about Ultraman Trigger. I'll be back. Don't go anywhere. I have returned.
And they've kept him essentially on trial for the last 2 decades. It's horrendous what's happened to him. But he's been
Then he should stop continuing to break the law, maybe.
prohibited from doing his great work.
We're going to do a deep dive into the first American Pope, Robert Prevost, aka Leo the 14th.
Well,
I don't really care, to be honest. Like, I hope he says decent things, but I'm not Catholic. I don't care.
Yeah, I just find out he's the one that brought the alkalized diet.
Yeah, the pH miracle.
Is there a specific kind of tinfoil Hannah covers, or is it just all? It's all sorts.
He's famous for the pH miracle. Yeah.
Does that sound familiar? You have a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to be a medical student back home. I am from Colombia. And what I feel is that technology is and is going to continue being neutral. What we had to work out is in...
I think he was one of the early MMS docs, Bleach docs. I'm not sure because the YouTube channel that covered it is gone and the creator wishes for people not to say their name. Why?
The people...
If it's the... Why not?
That control the technology. What I see in Donald Trump and Elon Musk, I don't know, I listened to a Smell podcast, and what you said about Elon Musk, I felt in the campaign is about what he's doing. What I feel he went through, and perhaps he have a lot dark to work on. I feel that as a young boy, he tried to get close to his father.
It is the channel I was thinking of. What happened to that channel? I always liked that person's content. What happened? Yeah, what happened, Just a Peach? Or is that person okay?
And it didn't work out. I feel that...
No, if they don't, and if that person doesn't want it talked about in general, that's fine. You don't have to say anything. I'm just concerned because I really liked that channel.
He got close to Trump because somehow he see in him a father. And he was ignoring all the children he has, and I don't know if you see him with a child. To me, that is a new energy, the future. I don't know how bad they have been, but I see between you have different point of views about who's good, who's bad. So to me, if we are going to understand the technology, we need somehow Elon Musk and that knowledge. We cannot ignore that the aerospace industry is going to change due with all the things that he has been going on. We need that knowledge. We need some technology. Whatever he went through, they are the ones that are destroying that structures that are not working, and we had to let them continuously destroying that.
I appreciate your words. Is there a question?
How we are going to...
They had life stuff and told other YouTubers to spread the word that they're done and not to be named. Understandable. That's a shame. I really enjoyed their content, and it was a great resource to be able to send to people, in particular for, like, debunking Holocaust denial stuff, but, you know, it's their content, and I respect that.
To be able, you say, oh, we are the one that we are going to be futures. At this moment, the challenge is, I see the Democrats fighting.
E.T. Apollo, thanks for becoming a member on YouTube.
Telling you, I'm from Colombia where the drug dealers and everything are coming from. But to me, it's hard to see that the United Nations, CIA, and the Vaticans are the one controlling the drugs.
Yes, that's always been the way.
But
the Vatican is controlling the drugs?
Always been the way.
Vatican.
But how I can help to see the Democrats fighting for when somebody's telling you
I'm not understanding. Forgive me. Just give me give me one question.
Have your email.
Oh, he's getting mad. Oh, he's scary. This is scary. Sorry. I don't know if people are familiar with, like, covert narcissism, but to some level, I feel like he's hiding his level of narcissism, and then when he gets frustrated, it seeps out a little bit. I'd be afraid to know him personally behind the scenes as like a friend or partner or business person, just because I feel like when cameras aren't on him, he might get upset at people.
What's the question?
Oh no, she's rambling. I'm not saying she's not, but everyone here has been rambling. It's a ramble fest.
Okay, there's no question. Thank you.
Jeff Holiday has permission to redo their videos. He's trying to earn enough to work on it more. Okay, that would be good. Jeff's a good person to redo those too. Jeff's great.
Appreciate your words. Now, interesting what you said about Musk and the father archetype. I think that's quite Freudian, but I think actually you're onto something there.
It's quite Freudian. Certified health nut guy's the craziest covert narcissist. I don't think I'm familiar. I'll have to look into him.
He would have seen Trump with a grandchild. If she's right, and this is a very smart woman, very perceptive. If she's right, then seeing Donald with his grandchildren, I mean, I know all that bunch. To see Donald with his grandchildren, then it would make sure, okay? But people don't really get it, Sasha. Where is the war? Here's where the war is, everybody. Google, the war is this. Google, Amazon, Bezos, all these are fighting for government intelligence contracts.
Yes.
The war is Elon changing the government and pushing those who control intel agency software, pushing them out. Okay, for me, everybody listen. We were either going to be taken over by a force or we were going to do what we're doing now. There was only the two options. We stayed in play and got overwhelmed with
You adjacent, he's known for drinking his pee, lives in Sedona with a ton of new age covert, few militia people. Okay, I'll have to check him out for sure.
what we're now.
I can't show the pee thing, unfortunately, because we're on a pee moratorium until December, when Pissmas will rise again. I have a whole documentary about people who drink pee for next Pissmas. It's great, but I can't show it to you until December because you people have no class and won't let me show you pee-pee. Rude.
Seeing is insanity, or we took this option. Okay, these are the two choices we made. All right, so watch where we are.
Very good. Anyone else have questions? Yes.
Yes, I care very much to contribute my thoughts to what your original question was.
Okay, but like they're asking for questions, not comments.
About the status.
H-Beard says, are there any new age militias? If not, I have an exciting new investment opportunity.
Quo, as well as where we're heading to in 2025. I've applied a lot of my research and knowledge into seeing where this is going.
My research said by a non-researcher on the bingo card.
So I've sort of accumulated some evidence that the political nature in which so much chaos is happening with the advancements of AI, with the advancements of a further mRNA agenda, this is all...
Buzzwords, buzzwords, buzzwords.
All part of a very narcissistic, fear-based, control-based reality that does not fit into the 5D consciousness. It is not going to resonate. These systems are breaking down. People are seeing through them, and they are going to completely go away. So around the time frame of actually February the 27th is when the solar flash could possibly occur. What that would do is that would activate dormant DNA codes within our DNA, shift us up into a higher frequency, and turn on genetic capabilities that have been dormant for a long, long time because of...
You know, that's not how genetics work, believe it or not. You're not secretly an X-Man. Benekagami says, but Hannah, you showed us PP every meme stock meltdown. Bazing. Bazinga. It's funny, because that's that guy's name.
Of Draco and AI interference. If I were to sit down with Trump, Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel, Elon Musk, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr., I would tell him, first of all, with your approval, Donald Trump, I would like to bring in the Galactic Federation of Light. We will bring in our ships to remove the inorganic material off of the whole planet. We'll vacuum it all up. Everything organic will stay.
What do you mean? That would... Does she know what organic means? Like, we use inorganic material. Like, metal? Metal is an inorganic material, and we use it. What are you talking about? What about rocks? Rocks are inorganic. We need rocks.
That includes in the oceans, the microplastics, that includes in the chemtrails.
The fucking oceans are inorganic. Water isn't organic. That's not what it means. Organic means like we're, oh God, it's like organic chemistry. It's like carbon. It's carbon. God damn it.
Everything that's polluted, it will be vacuumed up. Another thing with Kash Patel, I would
be vacuumed up, just like in that documentary, Spaceballs.
say the FBI has been a lying, corrupt agency. Thank you for taking this position. Make sure to get rid of 91% of everybody in Congress right now. Get the handcuffs.
Okay, do we have any questions? It's almost like our entire community is made up of people who narcissistically think their opinion is the most important in the room at any given time.
Call the marshal, get everyone arrested, and I want people put away if they've been part of Peter Thiel. That includes J.D. Vance. Eradicated. Elon Musk. Now, if I'm addressing Elon Musk personally, I would say you're getting into very dangerous.
I just want to point this out, Secret Service. I don't condone that statement she made. J. Rodimus says, okay, to be fair, nobody in America knows what organic means. Some food companies make their entire income because of that. True.
Territory with the data that you're collecting, with breaching people's personal information to build a data center in Tennessee and also in other places. This includes Stargate. This includes any other people that Trump is aligning to, including Sam Altman, including Larry Ellison. And these are tech billionaires that are tied to the CIA. Kash Patel, go into the CIA, take control of your agency. Next, Tulsi Gabbard, with what China is doing
This
here.
is just a manifesto. Once again, this was supposed to be a Q&A, not a manifesto reading session.
You really need to pay attention. We do not trust China. They have sent spies. They have infiltrated. China is our biggest military competitor. We need to make sure that the advancements of AI are regulated. Trump removed executive orders to remove what could be.
Call your senator tomorrow, everybody. Call your senator tomorrow.
That's pretty much. I could go on, but that's
I'm sure you could go on.
Anyone else guided?
Thank you.
Could I just
Very
add
good.
to that, Sasha?
Yeah, please. One moment, please.
Wasn't Sam in jail at this point? You're thinking of Sam Bankman-Fried. Sam Altman is the OpenAI guy.
I just wanted to add real quick before we go further, because there was a couple comments here about Elon Musk. For those who want to dive into some of the things that were mentioned, I wrote an article a couple weeks ago called "You Can't Hide," and it's about the fact that Elon Musk is one of the largest military-industrial complex contractors. Part of what I call the great inversion is to remake this idea that all of a sudden it's cool to be a military-industrial complex contractor. You have Peter Thiel through Anduril, OpenAI, and Musk all now sort of forming a new alliance that was announced a few weeks ago. They're sort of positioning.
Kagami says, no, Hannah, you see organic and inorganic is just scientific for godly and satanic. Everything good is organic. Everything bad is inorganic. Jay's a proxy. Black's Law Dictionary requests salad or whatever's near it. Okay.
Themselves as we're going to be the new competition to Raytheon, to Boeing, etc. We're the cool, hip, young tech guys that are going to replace the old guard. That is, I think, an illusion that's being presented to us to sort of accept that. But I encourage everybody to look up Starshield. You can find my article if you just search my name, Derek Brosen, Starshield. It is the world's largest satellite network, spy satellite network that Elon Musk is helping to build. Every time they show one of those cool rockets going up in the sky, he's actually sending out classified payloads for the National Reconnaissance Office, which is the spy satellite network for the U.S. government. And it's and he helped with the war in Ukraine with Starlink. It's a $1.8 billion classified contract that we've only learned about over the last year. We still don't know exactly what they're doing. But in my article, I found the head of the NRO. His name's Christopher Scalise. He said at a talk he gave recently, you can't hide. Now that we're building this large...
Saleable, merchantable, fit for sale in usual course of trade at usual selling prices. That's the closest I got.
Satellite network, there will be nowhere to hide on the planet. Now, of course, he's claiming it's just for the bad guys, for the terrorists, but that's just a bit of the sort of things Elon Musk is working on. And the young lady here just mentioned Stargate, Larry Ellison, OpenAI, Sam Altman. I encourage you to go look at an article I wrote about that last week, because these pieces...
Wow, everyone's just shilling their shit.
For me, I have not yet seen the forensics of cloning. It was actually my cousin, Anthony, in England, who was lead geneticist with the Dolly the sheep in the 1980s. So in my own...
Part of me just finds that very hard to believe. It's not impossible, but what are the chances?
Family circle, this clone thing has been a subject that's come around the dinner table over 30 odd years. I am not convinced that Hillary Clinton has been grown in a petri dish. I rather like the idea that she's... I think it's probably a double, and I think that's fairly straightforward there. Masking is a technology that is so easy now. So the business of animated clones, genetic clones, I don't subscribe to on this world, but I don't know the answer to the question.
Can I just chime in real
Please
quick
do.
on the cloning part of it? You mentioned Dolly the sheep. The technology is definitely there.
Yes, yes.
They do know how to do it.
They're cloning pets in Hollywood right now.
Yeah, and even chimeras.
But
Chimera. Chimeras.
But they cannot accelerate the growth. That's the point. It's still going to take.
CRISPR.
It's still going to take.
How you're using CRISPR and how you're matching and splitting those.
What are you? Can you grow?
Oh my god, I wish my wife was here to listen to this. I think she'd lose her goddamn mind. They're about to talk about CRISPR. They definitely don't know anything about this.
Grow a Hillary Clinton in 3 weeks? That's the question.
I don't know about that.
Right.
I know the theory. I know the theories there to be able to achieve cloning based on CRISPR technology.
Nikigami says Trump's trying to start his own Iron Dome for American because it's Trump. He called it the Gold Dome. Yeah, I've heard.
Agreed. But it's about the accelerator.
Trump said something crazy and stupid. Wow, let's pretend it's 2015 and I'm shocked or interested. Giving into it, people. Nothing matters.
Growth that for me becomes the stumble point.
Well, some of the testimony of Donald Marshall, he goes into the cloning laboratory. He's been there. He does see them. They do have
humans.
Yeah, rapid cloning technology. Here's just a little tidbit. I was on a tour with Nassim
Rapid cloning technology. Oh, there's my wife, Dr. Baha, my wife. Someone gift my wife a sub. Dr. Baha, how do you feel about rapid cloning? You know, how they'll clone Hillary Clinton in 3 weeks.
6 years ago in Peru, Bolivia, and I said, Nassim, I heard a story.
In where?
Peru and Bolivia.
Oh, I thought it said Peru, Bolivia.
Dash Bolivia. Speaking fast. Said, Nassim, I heard a story that you saw a bunch of clones in a cloning laboratory. He told me to my face that he was in an underground base in Bulgaria about 2 decades ago.
That's not on the bingo
and
anymore,
he saw
H-Fred.
8 absolutely identical clones walk in and do some
Doesn't
work.
look like you have a sub. I don't have a sub.
They're very
Maybe
much of
you
a
are.
hive mind. So it's a matter of
Oh,
programming.
maybe you are. I just
the
don't see a
intelligence.
sub thing next to your name.
And my understanding is, and this is what Donald Marshall also says, is when the host dies, so in the case of Hillary Clinton
Yeah,
being
she
hung
must have a sub. It's just not showing because she's a mod, so it must only show 2 things, and it's not showing the sub thing. Sorry.
in 2017, the clones start breaking down very rapidly. You do need that living host to incubate the other one. So
Isn't that just how it works in, like, the fucking pod people? Or, like, I don't know where this trope originated, but basically you need the original to keep a refresh of the form. That's just a trope from fiction.
if she is still being propped up with a clone, or we can't underestimate the masks are very, very realistic now. We've all seen the videos when they're peeling them off.
Talking about basically Mission Impossible style face masks.
as well as doppelgangers. I mean, this goes all the way back to Hitler had his own doppelgangers. They'll find people that are very closely resembling them. They will give them plastic surgery. And why wouldn't you? Because if your politician might be assassinated, you want to put the doppelganger out front.
Exactly.
So I just don't think we can actually throw the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to cloning, because that technology is definitely here.
Why not? You can always clone a second baby.
Well, who's
No one knows
doing
for
the
sure.
cloning? Yeah. And so why
All
do
you did
clone
was
have-
license the patent, honey.
Why does Trump have clones?
You know-
If he's a good guy, maybe it's just a doppelganger for his own safety.
Okay, thank you for the question. Appreciate it. Yes, Marsha Willardson.
I don't really have a question. I don't think it.
Oh my god, everyone just has fucking comments. Are none of you people inquisitive? It's like none of them care to like further explore. It's just whatever first comes into their head. It's important. They gotta tell people. It's not about exploration. It's about exerting your thoughts.
May come up, but I've just got to say something before I absolutely explode. One of the things, Scott, that you said is that you came out and it wasn't your natural way of being. Well, the truth is it wasn't your normal way of being. We use language. We've been programmed to use language in such a way that we sabotage our own inner knowing. And your natural way of being was how you came out. The normal way of being was how you were before that. So we have, when I was in college, they asked me to do a sociology course. And I went in the first chapter, it says, okay, we're going to study norms. And I went to the teacher and said, who's setting the norms? And she said, I don't know. And so I quit the course.
I find it a little hard to believe that in this psychology class, they didn't explain to you the basic concept that, like, yeah, these things are relative socially. These things are, society sort of as a whole, as a net product of society, determines what normative is. Daphne, definitely. Thank you so much for gifting 3 tier 1 subs. Thank you very much for the gift subs. On the subject, would you ever go to one of these events? No, I am trans and might get murdered. I don't know if you know this, a lot of conspiracy theorists not only hate trans people, but think we're in on the cabal. So if I went to one of these things, I'm gonna get murdered. So no. If I was cis, yeah, that'd be fun. I don't have that, I can't do that. I'm not allowed.
How am I going to work in a normal world when it's not even my norm? It's not my natural way of being, but I'm fitting into the society because this norm is teaching me to be there. Another thing is we say, okay, now, right here is where the power is. And then the whole conversation is...
Just send my clone easy? I would never put my clone in danger. Then who would grind my character levels out for me? Screaming at the Radio says, somebody quitting a university course on the first session because they think they know better than the teacher is top narcissism.
We need to get over here. We need to get over there. We want something. Well, there's times during the last 35 years, and if I went in to see Trump, I would take my 35 years of files of lawfare and I would dump it in his office and I would command him to execute those files against the people for treason. The executive lawfare, the administrative lawfare, the judicial lawfare, which is really executive lawfare. I would show him, and I would cut through all of those contracts that Tupper Saucy called blown cover as cover. Every time it happened with the Jesuits, it happened all over the planet. If we want to look at anything, we want to look at that. We don't want to look at the history.
This lady's not okay. None of the people here are okay.
And bring it forward. Because all that history is programmed. Who said so? Who says it's real? What do we know for sure? So right now, what I know for sure is what I would take into that office. 2 10-by-20 storage units of files over the last 35 years of people with no money down have been defended from lawfare. And that's what I would take to Trump.
Panikagami says, dollars to donuts. The professor tried to explain social convention and consensus to her, and she was frustrated by the answer, like what happens when flurfers and explained gravity. Yeah, the teacher probably explained, like, well, no individual person sets norms. It's sort of a, it's a thing that sort of broadly as a society comes to be. And she was like, what? You don't even know who's doing it? Like, she couldn't accept the answer. And I know I'm speculating here. This is basically just a straw man. We don't know what actually happened, but I could see, in theory, it being explained, but because there was not a singular entity to blame, she thought it was a non-answer.
We already have won. We've already won. In the ethers, we've already won. We don't need to get anywhere.
Okay, go hang out in the ethers then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Marcia. You have been just awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome being for. I've known you. How many decades do we go back?
She's mine. Back off, Sandra.
Yeah, but she's awesome. But crimes against humanity is what the International Tribunal for Natural Justice was about, But really,
that's the fake courtroom that they set up. Remember a while back, I played you guys some of their court bullshit where they were wearing the fake judges' robes and stuff. Same people, some of them.
Still, it goes back to all those kids. The underpinning of all of it that's held it in place has been that child sacrifice. Yeah. The gig is up. No more.
Yeah.
The jig is up.
Wednesday, call your senator.
Scott, cuff the man.
What is natural justice? Basically, it's them forming a mob. They got together and did their own little court where they dressed up like judges and basically symbolically indicted people that they think are ruining the world. It's all the conspiracies that they believe, basically.
I have a beautiful niece that worked really hard to get to college, and she busted her ass, and her parents paid a lot of money to send her to Vanderbilt University. And she is about to get an addictomy. She wants to become a man now. And
oh boy. Okay, so use he him pronouns then, because clearly he's a trans man.
And
is it your daughter?
No, my niece. She was here yesterday.
Nephew.
Yesterday.
Right.
All right, I'm skipping this comment because I'm just not. I don't need to entertain this fucking bitch.
Or a woman in many other lifetimes. And for whatever reason, indoctrination, you want to call it that or not, there's something in her that feels that this isn't the right body for me. I need to.
Oh boy.
Like a prepper. That's it. If you want to prepare physically, but it's also important to prepare spiritually because it is believed that these CMEs are actually communicating with their cells at a very micro level of reality where they're actually inserting new codons, activating DNA strands. So it might not be a bad thing.
Cannot insert strands of anything inside of me without consent.
This is probably what we've all been waiting for, the transformation of the Homo sapiens sapiens into Homo luminous. And so, yeah, we really have nothing to worry about. But if you feel like you need to be ready, 2-3 weeks of food and water, that's it.
Very good, very good.
I'm going to be honest. I think it's pretty narcissistic to call your own species Homo luminous. I think that that's pretentious. I'm just putting it out there.
It goes down.
I just want to speak momentarily to
I
this.
feel kind of the same thing about in X-Men when Magneto calls him Homo superior. Like, you get why that rubs people the wrong way, right?
The so-called...
Aldred Undying says, compliments to my trans man German friend. He thanks you for skipping. Of course.
Solar flares only happen in diametric proportion to the degree to which the collective consciousness of this plane of existence invites those solar flares. So it's perfect counterpoint geometry. Nothing ever comes at us that is a threat in and of itself. We can perceive it as a threat.
Nothing ever comes at you that's a threat. So if I'm like Grizzly Man, I don't know how familiar you guys are with Werner Herzog. Grizzly Man who was eaten by a bear. Nothing ever comes at you with predatory intent? Ever?
But that is classic incoherence on the part of our psycho intellectual, psycho-spiritual, psycho-civilizational perspective.
Timothy Treadwell, thank you. That's
And the problem we've had, if indeed we have had a problem, has been fear as the source code of our psycho-civilizational matrix reality. And that was something which was heavily underscored by 500 years of ritualistic satanic nonsense issuing through the Roman Catholic Church, essentially. All
ritualistic, satanic stuff coming from the Catholic Church. That kind of seems like the opposite of their deal.
monotheistic religions are...
I have Werner Herzog in my collection, too. Yeah, I have, two Herzog collections. This first one has like a nice book, like a book that comes with a lot of his movies, documentaries, and fiction films. Comes with a lot of graphics and like little details on the movie stuff. And then there's the second edition that's just like a normal Blu-ray.
Are guilty.
How many DVDs, Blu-rays am I up to? Let me take a look. I don't know the most up-to-date number. 3,735.
Of the same, all of them. But this guilt, shame, fear complex, the angst, the trial of separation, dirty, dirty human, all of that
dirty, dirty human
narrative has been kind of embellished into us and imprinted into us. And so the problem is we are at the collective level of the Gestalt putting out incoherent signatures. And those signatures are inviting a redress or a reset. So the
thing about having this many movies to watch is it's, you know, choice overload, whatever it's called. You have too many choices. That's the issue. Literally, like, Baja on weekdays often has to go to bed earlier than me, and I usually have enough time to watch, like, a movie. I have, like, an hour and a half or 2 hours before I have to go to bed, or, you know, do go to bed. I work from home most times, so. But I literally sometimes will spend, like, an hour just trying to look for a movie. I'll be sitting in this chair, unironically just trying to pick, and then I won't have enough time to watch a movie, and then I just go fucking put on YouTube or something. Fennec Kagami said, man, isn't it great our federal government would rather these people run scientific research than, you know, scientists? Scientists have a pesky habit of not giving you results you want, though, and can't have that.
So-called solar flares are coming back in answer to the call, always, and can only ever be an answer to the call, in much the same way that climates are steered by human consciousness. And when we get that...
Oh! Weather control on the bingo card?
Peace, we'll understand that as we go back to the Aboriginal...
Sophie with another super chat, 10 Canadian dollars, says movie recommendation, Brand Upon the Brain by Guy Madden from Manitoba. Okay. Brand Upon the Brain.
Original source code of starting to dream wisely within the social construct of me, my relationship with self, then me, my relationship with my partner, my relationship with the family, with the community, with the society, and then with the culture, and then with the civilization at large. It is how we choose to dream wisely that is the ultimate protection and defense, so to speak. Remember, protectionism and defensiveness never served human beings. All that does is creates the false armor. We go out looking for a battle.
You're against protectionism, but you're pro-Trump? What?
Meet it, because we're imagining it. So again, wise dreaming is the answer to the call. Daniel.
All right, so, Shasta, what... Hold on a second, everybody.
Yeah, don't clap.
Well, but clap, okay, but watch. What astrophysicists are talking about today? I listened to what she says. There is something about what's happening that she doesn't understand about solar flares. What astrophysicists are talking about...
I don't know if it's moves goalposts, it's just incoherent.
Right now is they cannot understand the new type of bombardment. They don't even have a name for the kind of neutrino bombardment that's hitting the Earth in these solar storms over the next 2 years. This is what they're talking about. So solar flares and neutrino bombardment, which is a very, very, very small, compacted, nanoparticulated structure, a neutrino. But they flow through our bodies all the time, everybody. We are bombarded by these energetic fields. They have never seen this kind of neutrino concentration. Like we're saying, an age has been born. A universe in a 25,920-year passage as the Mayas have passed.
Okay. I'm going to skip towards the end and have Sasha have the final word, and then we're going to call it a day because we're coming up on 3 hours.
There is no revelation out there. The revelation I think we recognize is immanent. It's a
Yikerinos. Once again, conspiracy theorists thinking the keys to ultimate knowledge are all found within. Fun fact, very few things are found from within except your own internal state. Gotta investigate things out in the world, where stuff happens, not in your head. That's just where your imagination is.
a reckoning with self, with the diminished self. And when we do engage that reckoning with the diminished self and actualize as the capitalized self, everything changes. The immanent flame takes over. We're no longer led by the light. We do not follow the light to the end of the tunnel, nor should we ever have done that. It served us. We are the light in that sense. I am the atonement. I
am the walrus.
I am the absolution. I am the redemption. And I am
Iron Man.
The salvation. That is the I am. Rekindling relationship with the sacred soil, as Scott alluded to, is exactly correct. That's the hardest technology of all for us to learn as a civilization, escaping the so-called matrix. Simply a rekindling with the immanent telluric forces of this paramagnetic earth. Because when we are barefoot on the soil or in the mud or on the grass, we phase conjugate with the dielectric universe through the crown.
We phase conjugate with the dielectric universe. Wow. I want that on a shirt.
Kundalini rising, all of that. It can only happen when we're not standing in rubber-soled shoes on asphalt in concrete jungles. So the flight from Sodom and Gomorrah is underway. The work that we're doing, the New Earth Project, the International Tribunal for Natural Justice, the World Hereditary Council, New Earth Technologies, and we've been incubating free energy for many years, and this year we're releasing 2. 1, water, fuel, powering up a village on about that much water in Africa per week.
Oh, that's crazy shit. Yeah, I didn't talk about this. He has a free energy generator that's just an electrolysis machine. It's just a water electrolysis machine, but he claims it's an infinite energy device. So I don't know what the fuck the deal is with that.
So that's going to be an interesting play, getting that technology out to the world. We have other more exotic technologies than that. Excuse me. Can I ask you, please? Thank you. We're getting more exotic technologies out to the world as well, as many others are. I know what we're working on. Jurisdiction is very important. Establishing your jurisdiction in this world, wherever you be, the I am is the ultimate jurisdiction. There is no justice in this world that
there's just us.
Will cage that woman, Marsha Willardson. She's the head of our law commission, and in that sense, as we joke, she's our center of gravity. And she happens to be the matriarch as well, which is the most powerful emergent force on earth at this time, at this end of time. So it's circles within circles within circles. I can tell you this image that I chose behind me here is the grandmother. It's the grandmother energy, it's the grandmother spirit, it's the emergence of that matriarchal energy, which now comes to soothe an age-old patriarchal dominion, and a hegemony of patriarchal energy, which has really subjugated our true quantum consciousness and our creativity as a species. Now, that all changes, everything changes. We must, and this is what I'm ending on, We must pierce the corporate veil. The corporation.
What?
The corporation.
The corporate veil is like what prevents you from being personally liable for things your company does if you have a company, if you have an LLC or whatever way your company's organized.
Parent corporation, the Vatican complex, the crowns of Europe, the Pentagon, the war powers, the United Nations, all of these institutions, agencies, organizations that control how we move, how we breathe, how we see each other, how we exchange. Third-party intervention is what the parent corporation is. We have to pierce that corporate veil. We are now entering into the most anti-historic period of time where we will no longer be registering.
We're in anti-history.
Our children at birth. We will no longer be allowing ourselves to be registered at all. How dare.
That's going to make bureaucracy, which is necessary for any society large enough, incredibly difficult.
Anything.
How are you going to do a census?
Or anyone register me, my soul, my time, my motion, my bicycle, my...
Like, do people understand that we're not registering people just like for funsies? There's actual civic reasons that you try to keep track of a population so you know where to allocate resources. Like, there's reasons that we do this. It's not just to be a dick.
Combine harvester, my tractor, my Harley Davidson, sorry, my Indian. Right? How dare any authority outside of the I am demand that I register my assets or my resources?
Hey man, you want to use public roads. That's the rules.
Or my property. Hashtag go fuck yourself. Right. So that irreverence, I think, is probably likely. Excuse me, gentlemen.
We're talking about how wonderful you
We were
are.
bragging about you.
Just unbelievable.
We were
I've never
bragging.
in my I've hundreds of panels in my life. Never conversation like
We're sitting here talking about how remarkable Sasha was. He interrupted
Excellent.
us. Leave us continue our conversation, sir.
Get your hand off his knee right now. He's mine.
That's mine.
All right.
What about toenail polish? Stop.
All right. Mackay, pay attention because you'll be there.
He's got this.
Tennessee, 21st of June.
The sweaty, unwashed hippie sex that must happen at this goddamn conference after hours is disturbing.
This year. We, the greater we, my beautiful ecosystem of very, very brilliant souls connected to technology advancement, connected to world hereditary redemption, and the return of the true kings and paramount chiefs to their legacies, to their thrones, so to speak, before they then stand down and hand back to the true sons and daughters of God. All the crowns, all the First Nation peoples had their lands and their gold heisted, and have been part of this diabolical holocaust of the last 500 years. We are piercing that corporate veil of the war powers on the 21st of June this year in Tennessee, where we are handing back a piece of soil. It's not huge, it's 60 or 70 acres that we've bought, and it's perfect land. And we are handing that back and taking it back to the original land patterns of the First Nation peoples of the Americas for the first time in history.
What nation?
Right. Cherokee and Chickasaw principally. Tennessee, Tanasi is the name. Tanasi is what the Cherokee called it. And he's part Cherokee Scott. We are handing the land back to them as an...
So, that's good in theory. Kind of worried what the caveat is, considering he's a whack job.
Act of atonement. And they will be receiving it. Many of the hereditary elders and leaders and grandmothers will be there in Tennessee to receive it. And then they will hand it back to us as the emergent rainbow warrior tribe.
Wait, why are they handing it back to you? I thought it was a gift to them. Why are they handing it back to you? It's not a gift if they hand it back to you.
And that, friends,
Is it a symbolic land back, but you're not really giving them land? I'm very confused.
How we escape the proverbial matrix. I thank you all so very much for coming.
Land back and then back again.
Here today. One more time. Daniel Brinkley, Brad Olson, Scott McKay, Dr. Sandra Rose Michael, Bianca Rulick, Derek Brose, and Ishmael Perez. Thank you, friends.
Thank you.
That was something. I find Sasha Stone so interesting.
Have you?
I want to cover him more in the future. I know he's got like his own place where he and his followers live, so I'm gonna see if I can look into that more. Oh, that's not the preferred nomenclature, Afghanistan. That's a very outdated, not good term. Nope. All right. So yeah, let's see who we're gonna raid. Thanks everyone for hanging out and watching stuff with me. Yeah, you didn't know that? Do you not know why it's called that? Yeah, don't say that, Afghanistan. That's not a good thing to say. Google it, I guess. Anyway, thanks everyone for hanging out and watching conspiracy stuff with me. I will be back tomorrow. I will be back again tomorrow, although a bit earlier. Baha and I have like a date night planned tomorrow, which is going to be fun. So I'm going to stream a little early so I can get out, or be done rather, when she gets out from work. So yeah, let's see who we're going to raid. All right. Have a great night, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow. And, yeah, if you're on YouTube, like the stream. And if you haven't already, subscribe on YouTube or follow on Twitch. We do stuff almost every day. All right. See you later, everyone. Bye.